In the dark night, this young boy with a deeply sad face is the Baskerville family's dog, San, Vico Van Baskerville. As his name suggests, Vico serves the family and his father wholeheartedly, but he was betrayed by the Void clan and the Demon tribe and was immediately sentenced to death. Standing before the guillotine, Vico declared that if he could live again, after biting his prey, he would never live as a dog again. And then, when he opened his eyes once more, the scene before him had changed. You are lying in a room with 3 cribs. Where am I? My body feels heavy, and it's noisy around me. No, this can't be hell. Even though it looks dark and mysterious, this place is the domain of the Baskerville family. There are many children like Vico here, crying in their cribs. He glances over them with a sneer. These are just worthless kids. I am Hugo Le Baskerville, the head of the Baskerville family. Hugo takes a quick survey. None of the children here are special. I think they are just a bunch of abandoned ones. But that thought immediately vanished when he locked eyes with a child. Hugo stared at the cradle for a long time, as if deep in thought. He looked at Vico with some curiosity. This discarded one seemed quieter. Take this child to the swordsmith. The butler nearby obeys the rules. Yes, master. As soon as he saw Hugo, his eyes lit up with anger, the main culprit who falsely accused and murdered him. His figure is perfectly reflected in his eyes. Hugo Le Baskerville, Hugo's heir, Vico, has now returned to being a child. In the past, Vico lived like a dog, doing whatever it took. Assassinations, espionage, ambushes, threats, and more, doing all the dirty work to help the Baskerville family become one of the top 4 clans. Vico's loyalty was simple. He just wanted to be recognized by the family and Hugo. 10 years after the gate to the demon world opened, the battle against the demons ended with a victory for humans, and the reward was given to those who dedicated themselves to the family, a reward full of injustice and abandonment. The reason Vico was executed was because he knew too much. He would never live that kind of life again. Vico wants to take revenge immediately, but with this newborn body, he can't do anything. Being taken to the sword grave is a good opportunity to become stronger. The sword pit, true to its name, is a graveyard of swords. The children must pass through it in one try, thrown into a maze of blades, and after surviving, they need to reach the Stig River to test their innate talent. The Stig River is a legendary stream that turns children's bodies into steel, but only some can withstand it. To reach the Stig River, you must first pass through thousands of swords. The small body glides through the bloodstains, making anyone who sees it feel pity. But a strong will has decided not to give up. In my previous life, I failed with my siblings and couldn't achieve the results. Amidst the crowded crowd, Vico only looks at Hugo with determination. This time will be different. I will receive the most blessing from the Stig River, and as the red glow begins to spread through the clear blue water, Vico is immersing himself in the sacred river, feeling it through every pain as the water seeps through his body and bones via the cuts. I never thought it would be so effective. I need to endure as long as possible. I don't know how painful it will be, but I must bear it. The others started to worry, young master. You must get out. You'll die if you stay in the water any longer. Take him out. You have to take him out. Only Hugo smiled contentedly, as if he had achieved his goal. Then he asked the chief butler, Barrymore, "How long has that boy been in the river?" Based on the calculations, Ron answered, "It's been 7 minutes already." Hugo already guessed it. 7 minutes? He's probably dead, a butler gasped. "Master," he said as he looked into the water and ordered, "Son, you're safe now." Even as Vico kept trying to endure, it was Hugo's voice, the one who thought we would give up so easily. I had to absorb it until the very end. Because of my strong will, I couldn't breathe and gradually sank. Still, Vico tried until the last moment. I must endure it. Endure it. Gradually, the water bubbles became fewer. Just then, Hugo's strong hands grabbed him, looking at Vico with admiration. Look at this kid. The Stig River isn't enough for him. He still wants to drink more. Hugo lifted your chin to look at it. It already has teeth. What's the name of this kid? Without thinking much, he answered immediately, Young Master Vico Van Baskerville. Hearing the unique name, Hugo smirked slightly. Vico. Looks like I have a child to leave behind. My body already stiff, but Vico still ignores me. Just to rejoice while you can walk, Hugo. Right now, I need time to sharpen my teeth quickly, and when the time comes, I will bite through the soul pond I've nurtured. The Baskerville family will disappear from history by my own hand, Vico Van Baskerville. The lonely double silhouette of his back appears clearly, the illegitimate child of Hugo Le Baskerville, Vico Van Baskerville. By the age of 8, Vico possessed a talent that could be called a genius by others, but within his family, it was still just acceptable. At 20, he was assigned tasks like assassination, intelligence, and defeating enemies. By 29, Vico had grown compared to others' talents and was beginning to reach the limits of his swordsmanship skills. When Vico turned 30, the gate to the demon world was opened. At 35, he had survived the era of the storm and had slain countless demons. At age 39, the battle ended with humanity's victory, and by 40, Vico was awarded the title for his loyalty as a hunting dog. Those rewards did not follow one after another, and then Vico's head was separated from his body. After a moment of pleading for death, you gradually regained consciousness, and Vico looked around, wondering if this was the nursery room. Does that mean I successfully absorbed the river water? With this, I will have a better starting point than before. Suddenly, the maid with the gift box approaches. Oh my God, the lady is really too harsh. Why would she tell me to put this in the cradle of the young master? Hearing that, I was a bit curious. What about the lady of the house? Why would someone suddenly give a gift to an illegitimate child like me? It doesn't seem like anything good, because inside the cursed monkey carcass, a black snake armed with evil weapons crawled out, and Vico immediately recognized it as a blood snake. No way. These two rare monsters are just here to assassinate me. Not many people are called by such a noble title. She must be trying to eliminate rivals for her own child. Even the other children in the nursery rooms could be killed too. Without thinking much, Vico grabbed the necks of the two snakes. His face looks just like a villain with that thought, just as the Baskerville family expected. I will end your lives with my own hands, and I can already tell that the two snakes won't have a happy ending. The next day, when they saw the scene in shock, the Baskerville family was utterly terrified as they witnessed a child sleeping peacefully beside the dead bodies of the two blood snakes. In the end, the reason behind the blood snake murders remains a mystery to everyone. Only a young, scruffy dog can see the truth. 8 years have already passed since that incident, and in the classroom, the chosen children are attentively listening to the lecture. Today, we will learn about the stages of a swordsman. A swordsman cannot channel their mana into the blade. As an apprentice swordsman able to channel mana into their sword, they are skilled swordsmen. When the mana on their sword can be released as aura, it is considered a swordsman's technique. And finally, when that aura can be gathered and shaped at will, they are called master swordsmen. The greatest of Baskerville, Lord Hugo, is also a master swordsman. Hearing that, Vico quickly made a plan. Hugo is already a master swordsman. I must recover all my strength from before the regression before the coming of the maturity ceremony. Seeing you like that, he was very pleased, and young Master Vico continued to ponder deeply, for with the enhanced body he received and his genius analytical mind, his talent is on a different level compared to the other young masters. The Truong family will be very proud when they hear about the achievements that young Master Vico has accomplished. They won't think that way once they know what you're planning. How many years will it take me to kill Hugo? Just then, the other 3 kids sitting nearby started to mock. He's just an illegitimate bastard, but there are strange rumors about him. Do you know? The other 2 kids are also following along, do you know? The person had been submerged in the acid water for 7 minutes and had even killed 2 highly venomous blood snakes right after birth. Vico didn't respond to them, only silently judging that they were the ones who falsely accused him and stabbed him while he was trying to escape. The blue sea is Hugo le Baskerville's trident. The 3 twin brothers speak in unison. Don't try to cause trouble. Stop anyone. I don't think I have any kind of goodwill towards you, neither do I. Vico knows exactly what he should do now. Over the next 10 years, they will become enemies he must face. It's better to gradually threaten them to prevent future trouble. Vico silently watches the knife pointing at him. Hybro wants to verify something. After soaking in the water of the songstick, the body becomes as hard as forged steel and can no longer be wounded by a sword. So that's what I've been told. That means the person won't die when I stab them, right? He nodded quickly in response. I understand now. Hybro. Lowbro sneaked behind and held Vico's mouth shut. Can someone already endure 7 minutes in the water with a songstick? I would cut off my own hand if you could even endure just 3 minutes, so Vico reluctantly goes along with their plan. They say it's true. Kids are even more ruthless than adults. I'll play with them for a while. 1 minute later, Highbro and Midbro secretly plotted, unable to believe it was real. 3 minutes later, they started to sense something was off. He can endure for a long time, truly enduring. That was a long time. 10 minutes later, these 3 brothers were all scared stiff. The 3 brothers realized the truth. Is the rumor really true? Highbro and Midbro looked confused and told him, he's no longer happy. Let him go. Lowbro painfully jerked his hand back and realized it was covered in blood. Vico spat out the blood in disgust. These brothers were all terrified. What is he doing? Vico wipes the blood from his eyes with a fierce look. Why? Weren't you just saying earlier that you would cut off your own hand? These 3 brothers still try to act tough, even if they can actually do it. We are not afraid of people either. Only Lowbro is the opposite. They are afraid, so the 2 brothers immediately turned around. Your hand has been cut off. Highbro is comforting him. Calm down, little brother. Let's ask the preacher to fix it. Midbro joins in. Let's go. Not so fast, Vico interrupted. Who said you guys could go? He couldn't hold back anymore and drew his knife, risking everything. You bastard. The statement, full of authority, was stopped by fear, forgetting that we are a year older than your family. Remind Hybro carefully. I think you've forgotten already. Brother, this is Baskerville. If you have enough strength and talent, then age is just a temporary obstacle. Hybro, in pain, immediately stepped back in panic and shouted, Are those rumors true? Vico quickly punches a fierce blow right into his face. Making Hybro fall down, blood gushed from his nose and dripped onto his skin. Midbro shouted in horror, Big brother. He rushes forward with clenched fists, gritting his teeth and shouting, You bastard. In that moment, Vico kicked Midbro hard in the face, causing blood to spray everywhere. Lowbro, terrified, falls to the ground. Vico quickly reassures him, Don't be afraid. You will recover if treated promptly. So I will drool and let one of you leave. Hearing that, Lowbro was stunned and exclaimed, Really? He asked again. Let one of us leave. Vico threw the spear at them and ordered, That's up to you to decide. I won't wait too long, so make your decision quickly. At least one of you should survive? No way. The three brothers paused for a moment, then looked at each other with tense expressions, each wanting to survive despite their brotherly bond. Vico went outside to enjoy the screams of despair with satisfaction, while Baskerville's trident shattered in the midst of its attack. The scene shifts to the room where the clan leader is, and John is reporting. Clan leader, the Moog family, clashed at Ruby Mine and claimed this territory belongs to them. Hugo sat comfortably in his chair and replied, We will discuss with them soon. The Moog family will make the first move. Do you have anything else to report? John added regarding the recent midterm evaluation at the children's playground. Young Master Vico takes the top spot in the written exam. Hugo remains calm. Is that so? He asked further. When will the practical exam be held? John replied that they would depart in 5 days and that the young knights guarding the playground were preparing. So right now that place is completely deserted. The master has some things related to the clan, so he mentioned the children's arena. John's voice was serious. There was a bigger fight involving the young master recently. Hugo asked back, A big fight? How many people died? John recounts the details, so no one died. But Hybro the heir lost all his teeth, Midbro the heir has a sunken jaw, and Lowbro the heir is missing his left pinky finger. They have recovered, but are severely traumatized. Hearing this, Hugo was a bit surprised. Aren't they supposed to be very close? I suspect they are fighting each other on their own. John continued, because they fought with their other siblings. The one responsible is their younger brother, who is 1 year younger and was the top scorer in the exam I just mentioned. Young Master Vico. After a while, the entire corridor was illuminated by dark clusters of light. Vico stands seriously. Good afternoon, Lord. Hugo speaks calmly. Master, I suppose I am the head of a family. He got straight to the point. I heard you crippled the trio in the advanced class. Vico pretends to be innocent. I heard they've already received special treatment. Hugo started to take it seriously. I'm not talking about their physical condition. I'm talking about how you hurt their hearts. Since that day, they've been eating separately and no longer talk. The triple attack was once an art, but because of you, that relationship has been broken. Vico said nothing, just kept silent and smiled, forcing Hugo to speak up again. Don't you think you did something wrong? Is that wrong? Where did I go wrong? Hugo questioned. Isn't it true that you turned your brothers into ships on purpose? Vico exuded a deadly aura. But you're stronger than them. How could a powerful person make a mistake? Hugo nodded. Your brothers arrived before you and generously forgave you. You still feel no guilt. Vico still forgives you, despite his harsh attitude. That made you remember before your regression, when the last descendant of the vanishing family met Hugo Baskerville, now a nun, and said she had forgiven him. And after hearing that, Hugo replied by saying, Vico recounted Hugo's words at that time. I believe that forgiveness is nothing more than an apology from the weak who cannot seek revenge. Hearing that, Hugo smiled menacingly. Then he believed that strength is justice, which also means that becoming weak is a sin, and it seems you understand the Baskerville family motto well. Hugo shouted loudly. John quickly responded, Yes, master. Hugo then gestured forward and ordered, Go to the pantry and give this kid anything he wants to eat. He added, But don't be too greedy. Only someone like him can be allowed to do that. Vico smirked and replied, Can I eat the chocolate? Thank you, master. As John turned to lead him out of the food storage, Hugo called out, Son. He warned him to do well in the upcoming midterm exams and not to lose to anyone in the main house. Vico clenched his teeth in anger and replied fiercely, Yes, master. In the food warehouse, John introduces, This is the type of chocolate that the young ladies of the Mao family, known for their sophistication, enjoy. He explains that this is the highest quality product we have struggled to obtain this time. But Vico requested something different. I don't need any processed types. I want cacao beans with very strong flavor. John was slightly surprised after hearing this. Is he talking about unprocessed beans? Then a chef brought out a bag of cacao beans, as Vico mentioned. The chef standing beside introduced, "These are blood beans, a type of cacao with an extremely enticing flavor. Just one bean is enough to make 100 liters of chocolate." John stood behind, silently thinking, I can't believe he can eat those bitter raw beans. He must really love chocolate. Vico cleverly calculated the clan leader's words, finding a way to admit within that limit, so he came up with the idea of eating a lot of chocolate. Very cunning. The chef asked, "Young master, should we bring them into your room after processing?" Vico replied calmly, "You don't need to process them, just let me have them." John adjusts his glasses and quietly wonders, is he the only one with such a cold personality? Vico doesn't dislike chocolate because of the taste, but because he wants to eat it. A piece of these blood beans will appear in the practical exam 5 days from now. Vico stood among the crowd with his hands in his pockets, a wicked smile on his face. That day, an unprecedented event and a great disaster would unfold at the Baskerville family. The Baskerville family is known worldwide as the family of maniacs. The children born there are raised rigorously. They must climb a treacherous mountain to train their basic physical strength after learning to walk, and are not allowed to rest outside the designated times. When they sleep, they must do so with the aura of a demon, or a little devil, to adapt to the harsh environment. When that phase ends, they turn 8 years old and face brutal evaluations, which is why the Baskerville family is called the family of maniacs, participating in real assessments or survival trials. And today, the young trainees gather at LaRue Eleanor Mountain, a peak filled with demonic creatures captured at their territory's border. Baskerville stands amidst the forest and announces that the practical assessment remains quite simple for the young masters. Survive here for a month and hunt powerful monsters. Just remember these 2 things. Saving a person earns 10 points, saving without serious injury earns 30 points, eliminating another young master to survive earns 50 points, hunting monsters and surviving earns 70 points, and completing all conditions earns 90 points. Additionally, an emblem obtained by stealing someone else's emblem will count as extra points. No points are awarded if the person is dead, and there is no way to reach 100 points. I hope everyone remembers Lord Hugo's teachings. Being careless will get you killed. I advise you not to leave the Forbidden Zone. Mount LaRue Eleanor still has many dangerous areas. Stay within the tame monster territory. Pavel kept reminding them to follow his lead, as the Knight of Destiny would secretly score everyone during the competition. At that moment, a kid wondered if that was the same person who had been submerged in the Styx River for 7 minutes. Another kid nearby also said there are rumors that he strangled 2 poisonous snakes in his cradle. I hear he scored perfect on the written test. Let's see how he performs in the actual evaluation. Because Cal thought to himself that LaRue Eleanor Mountain had been a place he hadn't been to for a while. At that moment, the 3 brothers Highbrow, Midbrow, and Lowbrow looked away in fear. Over here, Pavel announces that this bell will signal the start of the evaluation. He gently shakes the bell, praying for your success. The kids immediately rushed away, and as Ka ran while quietly calculating, he knew he had to secure a good position first, so he headed to the place that drew attention last year. Behind him, 2 other kids are sneaking along, scheming. There's no rules saying you have to survive alone. We just need to follow him and steal the points. Highbrow orders from behind, protect that area first. Midbrow protests, don't give me orders. Lowbrow simply responds, I'll do it myself, just focus on yourself. Pavel calmly took out a cigarette and lit it. Has it started? Yet I wonder. Inside, he was full of thoughts. This exam neither encourages nor forbids killing others, but simply doesn't promote it. Because there are points for killing people, they will try their best to avoid killing others with their own hands. Pavel replied coldly, yes, losing the guide dog in the process, everything should be manageable, death kept to a minimum. Deep inside the dense forest, a cloaked figure is observing the situation ahead. He looks at Vico and silently wonders how far someone plans to go from this unexplored area. Vico's missing skin. He is a genius who has shown outstanding skills since he was a kid. I can't wait to see what he'll show me. Vico stopped in front of a giant ancient tree. It's nearby. He took a dry piece of wood and poked the ground, then he assessed it. This soil must be soft. Now, I will decide where to stay for the upcoming days. Then Vico stretched himself and thought it was finally time for him to enjoy his vacation. The fully covered bug hiding behind the tree wondered to itself, vacation, while Vico relaxed and gathered the firewood together. Meanwhile, the other members are fighting for the title. Vico wiped the sweat from his forehead after setting up the small wooden tent. At the same time, the triplet brothers fought together against the fierce bear to escape its claws, while Vico relaxed and slept peacefully under the tent he had just set up, watching as the cloaked figure refused to fight, blocking his view. He secretly thought that all he did was sleep and spend a few days digging a hole. Besides that, he only hunted for food and gathered firewood, planning to hide here and kill time afterward. The guy covered head to toe glanced at Vico and wondered to himself, it seems there are some rumors that he's a genius. Maybe I don't need to stay in school because he has no intention of escaping. Vico secretly realizes that the cloaked man has left. His expression changes to become more unpredictable and dangerous. And finally, he departs. Vico looked at the food being grilled over the raging fire and assessed, realizing that rushing in also requires a bit of patience. He remembered what a subordinate had said earlier. Leader, cacao beans are the best way to eliminate the fishy smell of meat, especially when concentrated with blood beans. Returning to the present, Vico ruthlessly throws the cacao beans and the fire into the air. The cacao beans are burned by the flames into ashes. Vico looked at the village of billowing black smoke and muttered to himself, "The obstacles are gone and my preparations are complete." He looked at the holes filled with dry, sharp wood and wondered if it was time to start his hunt. Days have passed, and now Vico confidently enters an unexplored area behind a warning sign. He looks around and thinks to himself, "This is an unexplored zone, but all of this used to be my backyard when I was still a true assassin. A burning smell makes my nose sting. Is it flammable? What's that? The dung is burning." Vico looked around to find the source of the smell. In front of him was a piece of dung on fire. I saw it clearly. Vico immediately realized that only a demon creature could produce such excretions around these wastes. I was already fed up with them when I was still an assassin, but now seeing just one, I wouldn't even have time to react. Vico looked at the burning dog and exclaimed, "Hellhound!" The hellhound, with its massive body and flames erupting from its body, radiated outward. This hellhound is level 8, stands 3 meters tall, on the second mountain of Leru Eleanor. A single bite can kill, and its ghostly flames cannot be extinguished until it consumes its prey. Vico thought to himself, these demonic creatures are covered in hellfire, these hellhounds. Before I regress, I could only fight one at 18, so facing it as an 8-year-old was naturally impossible. But Vico was still very confident. I knew a way for a child to defeat the hellfire dog. At this moment, he rushed straight towards the beast while recalling the first weakness of the hellhound. In an instant, Vico quickly dodged to the side, causing the hellhound to lunge forward. He calculated that the hellhound can only move in a straight line and needs quite some time to change direction. Now, the dog, unable to catch the scent, is getting angry and breathing heavily. Vico paid no mind, took out a bottle of water and poured it out, smiling as he said, "The second weakness of the hellhound is that these demonic creatures cannot cross water, no matter how small the amount." And as he finished speaking, he splashed water around. At that moment, the hellhound suddenly lunged forward, and Vico thought to himself that in this situation, the hellhound was slowed down and would approach him, revealing the deadly weakness of dog-like monsters. Even as the hellhound opened its mouth to bite Vico, he remained calm and deduced that they would open their mouths while running. So he gently snapped his fingers and then sidestepped, avoiding the creature's sharp teeth. The hellhound was furious, but it couldn't do anything, only growling at Vico behind him. Suddenly, it sensed something was wrong with its body, and in an instant it collapsed there, twitching uncontrollably until it became motionless. Vico held a small pill in his hand, smirking as he said, "This is the deadly poison for these chocolate dogs." If a red cacao bean can produce 100 liters of chocolate from just one seed, then it would obviously be even more effective against those dogs. Seeing the dog collapse, Vico drew his sword with a crazed look. These hellish dogs simply cannot resist chocolate. You should aim the sword straight at its body and then gradually explain. Perhaps it will first affect the heart and the vital organs. Those areas are protected by ribs and are very tough, so I need to target the spots without ribs. That is their true nature. And with a swift slash of his sword, he cut away a piece of flesh from the dog. Still, Vico's expression remained calm, and he moved his sword with confidence. Soon it was finished, and Vico sheathed his sword and returned to his original spot. From the wound emanated a mysterious purple mist. He swung a few times to test, and indeed the weight had decreased significantly. He happily said, "It seems the sword has become lighter, and if this continues, my strength will improve rapidly, soon matching what I had in my previous life. I wonder how Hugo will perform when an 8-year-old child defeats a level 3 hellhound with a B-grade threat." Vico thought proudly that with what he had achieved, he was already confident in leading, and it seemed time to think about the reward, a reward that he couldn't obtain in his previous life, and at present no one knew its true value. Vico cheerfully said, "Now just take its head," but unexpectedly there was a small sound behind him. Returning to reality, he only then realized something was strange. The hellhounds had stood up as if the game had never ended. In situations like this, Prosecutor Vico only feels excited, his eyes shining. It seems they heard the howl and are about to rush in, stepping on the dead dog's head, teasingly saying, "Such loyalty, huh?" Then he lifts a head proudly and says, "Anyway, I didn't plan to kill one. Come on over, I still have plenty of cacao beans." At that moment, a face full of confidence appeared in the peaceful sky, causing the dogs to cower in fear. Vico was also surprised to see clearly, his eyes wide open, realizing they were waiting to see who would attack first. Vico waited calmly as they trembled in fear before attacking an 8-year-old boy. The hellhounds never retreat, even if it means dying. Noticing this suspicion, he quickly turned around to think, and suddenly the image of 3 muscular dogs gradually appeared. With bulging muscles, they are called the 3-headed dog Cerberus. Vico was a bit worried, thinking to himself why a 3-headed dog, a level A+ monster, would appear here on level 1 instead of level 7. Then he suddenly noticed the bloodstains spreading across its body, as if waiting to ambush it. Looking back, beyond the mountain on the other side is the territory of the barbarian tribe. If it was chased all the way here by the barbarian tribe, Vico realizes this is a good opportunity and silently analyzes that it is an A+ level demonic creature with fatal wounds. "I have to take it down right now, even if I have to use everything I have." Beecher has hidden all his skills within the Barsvine tribe. Vico's mastery of swordsmanship has reached the level of an advanced swordmaster, and his skill with the Baskerville dagger has fully attained a level that other savage dogs can only reach in adulthood. Then he charged forward at full speed to face the dogs. A powerful strike to its head. However, from the right, he didn't notice another beast's head opening its mouth to attack him. So he spun around and slashed across its face. At this moment, Vico's excitement reached its peak. "You think you can do it. You are fully capable if it's a wounded 3-headed Cerberus dog before regression." Beecher's swordsmanship technique has been honed to the point where there are no wasted movements when killing an opponent. His body has been enhanced by the ST9 creature, and Beecher's weapon is more than enough to deal damage to a 3-headed dog. Because its skin is too tough, even when struck by a sword, they remain unfazed. From this, the cold, hard truth hits the young man. Defeating them easily would only be an illusion. With a single direct attack, Vico's sword was broken in his surprise. A moment of carelessness gave the 3-headed dog an opportunity to use its claws. The 3-headed dog continued to attack from the spiritual realm, knocking Vico away. His back slammed hard against a nearby tree, making him grimace in pain. Immediately, Vico spat out a large amount of blood and the pain was overwhelming. He sat silently under the tree for a long time. You wish Vico to wake up as if just emerging from a nightmare. You think I just lost consciousness after being attacked by the 3-headed dog. Right now, even the slightest movement causes excruciating pain, and Vico wonders if his entire left arm is broken. However, upon closer inspection, the wound is just 3 claw marks. Vico suddenly realized that even with Cerberus injured, his own wounds were only this minor, thanks to the songstick's effect. Having bought the songstick 5 years ago, he didn't have time to celebrate before quickly jumping to another spot, pulling the 3-headed dog back again and launching his attack. Vico dodged and thought to himself, "But if I keep getting hit, I won't survive." Looking at the beast, even in this tough situation, a seasoned hunter always finds the best way. What is the best thing I can do now? Taking advantage of the 3-headed dog not paying attention, Vico seized the opportunity to use a strategy. That is to escape. The 36 stratagems, the best tactic, so he ran for his life to escape from it. But unfortunately, Cerberus noticed and chased after me, so I kept running and analyzing. If it weren't injured, it would have caught me and torn me apart already. Maybe I should thank the mountain savages. While running, luckily, there was a gate ahead. Vico secretly rejoiced, knowing that beyond the wall was outside the boundary. So he didn't hesitate, jumped over it, thinking if he could reach that place, he could succeed, or else he would be caught beforehand. If those sharp teeth and the 100 durian bites from the 3-headed dog come together, I will die. In panic, Vico could only run as fast as he could. He silently wondered where it was. It had to be nearby. But luckily, from afar, the shadow of that thing caught his eye. Vico desperately pulls at his hair, just a little more, just a little more, just a little more. He puts all his hope of escaping this complex Cerberus into his legs. Seeing the opportunity ripe, Vico took a run-up, and just as the dog was about to pounce, he managed to do a backflip to dodge. Unexpectedly, another head of it was already opening its mouth to bite you. But luckily, the distance wasn't enough, and its leg lost momentum. So it fell face first to the ground, losing the delicious smell. As for Vico, he narrowly avoided a fatal blow, but ended up sprawled on the ground. You stare with wide eyes, panting in shock as the three-headed dog falls into the trap pit made of wooden stakes that Vico had set up earlier. Welcome to the sword pit, Cerberus. You think you're clever, but who would have guessed that the trap you set to fight off the hellhounds would also be used to catch Cerberus? Like the hunting dogs, Cerberus is a dog. The blood essence covering its head acts like poison, and immediately upon encountering danger, its two side heads instantly burst and die. It seems only the middle head isn't as tough as the others. Vico calmly holds a wooden spear and says, I guess high-level demons don't die from a single blow. Without saying a word, he threw the wooden disc straight ahead. The spinning wooden blade shot out without missing. It collided with the back of Cerberus and was bounced away. The dog howls in pain, yelping loudly as the villagers cry out. Vico watches coldly before stepping in. 1, 2. The dog begins to weaken, but your internal counting still doesn't stop. 3, 4, 5, 6. Cerberus seemed to have no more strength left, only able to passively watch the prey. On the 7th string, it trembled as if barely holding on. And then what was destined to happen happened. It foamed at the mouth and died right in front of Vico. You numbingly wiped the sweat from your face, looking at the hot corpse on the ground. You marvel to yourself, exactly 7 steps, the rumors are true. The wooden sword I just threw has a slight difference. Even a single bite makes it hard to take 7 steps, as the tree is wrapped in the poison of the blood snake. Luckily, I kept it when I was young. Vico reached out to the air, feeling the faint blue bones. You said you could sense the energy from Cerberus, so it seems all 3 heads are already dead. But the current problem is, how do we take it away now? The reason for Cerberus's creation is clear, and the Guardian Knight will soon suspect me. Before that, there's something I need to do. Actually, Cerberus is a gatekeeper creature that likes to guard the electric field. There must be a lair nearby. The lair is a strange place full of treasures, sometimes also home to powerful demons. Vico, feeling sad about his death, ponders that the lair might be losing its guardian creature. If I disguise myself with Cerberus's scent, I can avoid facing most of the demons. The soil, dry leaves, broken branches, footprints, and remaining water traces, I'll follow these clues to find my way back. So, your quest to find the lair begins. Just a month later, you quickly stand before a large shop. This is it. This is the tomb that Cerberus is guarding. Vico stepped in, recalling old memories. I remember coming here before my rebirth. I discovered it 10 years later, but back then it was hollow. But now it's different. Mixed with the smell of decay, I can smell the mana. I'm sure no one has touched this place before. The treasure chest is more than I imagined. You look so excited that your joy of discovery is hard to hide in your eyes as you step deeper inside, wondering what treasure awaits you here. Vico calmly walks into the cave, his footsteps echoing inside. There are quite a few ruby veins along this wall. It seems this place is connected to the Crimson Fang Mountain, a branch of the Black-Red Mountain. The light must be coming from inside the ruin. The blinding light shone directly into his face, forcing him to shield his eyes with his hand. He quickly ran forward, and in front of him was a room. The crystal glows inside the rotten tunnel, likely a creature emitting light by absorbing mana and transferring it into the ruby. The boy looks down at the stone pillar and suddenly shouts, "Below is a skeleton. Has someone been here before me?" The injuries all over my body look like I was slashed repeatedly by a knife, and the blood has already dried. It seems like it's been a while. I pick it up from below, and right now my name no longer matters, so it can be anything. I will call myself the Channel. I don't see the need to tarnish this pure sheet with my real name. You marvel at how this writing style has been passed down through the Baskerville family for generations. Could this person also be a member of the Baskerville family? Please read on. I am taking notes so that those who come after won't make the same mistakes I did. The family legend says this is an ancient tomb, and we have explored this tomb. We have defeated countless monsters and reached this stone chamber, facing an ultimate puzzle that held us up for 3 long years. No wonder they wanted to keep the treasure inside so badly. This ultimate puzzle must be somewhere deep within the chamber. Your gaze is fixed on the blazing red crystal. Is that it? When it enters, it becomes 1, and if it's inside, it becomes 2. Only when it is 1 can it leave. With our limited understanding of the riddle between us two, we pondered for a long time and reached the same conclusion. We are twins, once one in my mother's womb, but when born, we were separated into 2. Among us, only one person leaves with the treasure we obtained, right? That also means the 2 swords tearing through the wind were drawn. The two brothers looked at each other with murderous intent, and after a fierce and brutal fight, I left this place. But even so, nothing has changed here. We are now one, but I still haven't received anything I wanted. I killed my brother, I killed him. After endless regret, I decided to leave this place. And if anyone brave enough to come here, I want to tell you something. Leave this place now. Everything here drives people crazy with greed. There's nothing to take from this hellish cave. Vaiko drops the paper, basically meaning that even after overcoming everything to get here, there's no reward. But I am not a twin. The riddle remains the same, so Ken and Abel misunderstood. What appears as one when entering becomes two inside, and only when it is one can it leave. What could it be? Think about it. A pink prison that cannot be explored does not exist. Suddenly, Vaiko notices something in front of the skeleton, the skull full of water stains, and lets out a cry. His eyes sparkle with excitement. So this is it. Ken and Abel are just unlucky brothers, trapped by their circumstances and unable to solve the puzzle. The dark tunnel contrasts with the illuminated ice cave, and the answer to the riddle is this very prison itself. When we go inside, we become one with the dark tunnel. But the moment we reach this point, we become two because of the light from the ruby. So let it be dark again. The final area of the stone tunnel will open, shards flying everywhere, a confident smile on your face. The answer is your shadow, crystals shattering on the ground, black smoke rising, then slowly ascending, the black smoke turning into red, revealing the door in front of Vaiko. On his face is a thrill of excitement, so intense that it makes you wonder if this is the holy relic that the two brothers are fighting over, and the sword in front of him emanates dark energy. Only the bloodline of the Baskerville clan can draw out Beelzebub. You suddenly start singing. Is this really Beelzebub, the holy relic that can be found here? I remember seeing an illustration of the sword in a mythological book I read in the previous chapter, the gluttonous demon, Beelzebub. Ancient mythology never mentioned the great evil demons that seized the land. There are a total of 7 calamities corresponding to the 7 deadly sins. To prevent these 7 calamities, the leaders of the 7 clans rose up to fight each demon one by one in the 7 deadly sins. At that time, the kiwi that the Baskerville clan faced was the gluttonous demon Beelzebub, and from then on, what remained of Beelzebub was sealed within the territory of the Baskerville clan. And the demonic energy released by Beelzebub attracted monsters, or at least that's what the legend said, but no one believed it. However, that legend was true, and in the future, this sword of truth would fall into the hands of evil demons and bring death to countless human warriors on the battlefield. But in this life, the same won't happen anymore. After all, now it belongs to me. Vaiko exerted all his strength, his scream and shout blending together as he drew the sword, which transformed into streaks of lightning, shooting straight into his right arm. It was like a living creature crawling into the dark palm of his hand, then slipping inside with black veins appearing on Vaiko's hand. A surge of power erupted inside him as the sword appeared from his wrist. Vaiko looked at the sword, a weapon forged from the remnants of Than Thu, a kwai which Beelzebub had surprisingly crafted beyond expectations. I wonder how much stronger I'll be in this life. I can't wait for that moment. Vaiko looked around. There's nothing left here. Should I go back? As soon as he finished speaking, a wave of dizziness hit him unexpectedly, followed by stomach gurgling sounds. He collapsed. What is this? Dizziness? No, could it be hunger again? Beelzebub's sword slithered out, screeching loudly. Do I think it's asking me to feed it? Vaiko, clutching his stomach, struggling to crawl out of the cave. The pain makes me take a cold breath. This ravenous hunger makes my stomach feel like it's being torn apart. Maybe it's the hunger demon again. I pull Vaiko and run quickly forward. I speak out, trying to say that there's something edible over there. The corpse of the 3-headed hellhound I saw earlier, it stretched out its tongue and forcefully bit into the corpse of the 3-headed dog. The blood of the 3-headed dog was drawn into your body, making you feel satisfied. The blood flowing through Beelzebub makes my stomach feel alive again. I guess it's been hungry for a long time. The withered trees and barren land are also due to Beelzebub's ravenous hunger. I wonder how much I need to feed it to satisfy it. After a moment, it withdrew its tentacle and let out a satisfied cry. A line of text appeared. Beelzebub's other hunger. Rank 1. Blood of the 3-headed hellhound, B+ rank. Position 2. 3 resistances. Vaiko was surprised. This is Beelzebub's unique skill. Beelzebub's hunger is said to be able to turn opponents' skills into its own, allowing it to absorb unlimited skills and completely destroy those absorbed. But I guess there's a maximum level of skill I can absorb since this is a corpse. The blood of the 3-headed dog, a skill that causes even the tiniest wound to bleed a lot. Wait a moment, if I can acquire this skill. Just as I finished speaking, my eyes fixated on the withered corpse of the three-headed dog. Beelzebub immediately continued to emerge bloodthirsty. I stopped him. Wait a moment. Not everyone can eat everything. It will be hard to explain when they check it later because the corpse will be completely damaged. But no matter what you say, it keeps sucking blood non-stop, making you helpless. You get annoyed and hit it on the head, telling it to stop. Caught off guard, it hurriedly retracted its proboscis and used 3 more attacks, burning an A+ level Cerberus, quickly regenerating a level F Vico brown mouse, and devouring the mouse beneath Cerberus. But obtaining the burn from Cerberus was a huge gain. With the skill I absorbed from the Hellhound, someone would die if hit by this skill, and the feeling was even more terrifying than being burned alive. I have prepared the monster for the practical test, so I just need to relax until the evaluation is over. The young Baskerville dogs will return after completing the practical assessment. The evaluation continued, and the corpses of the monsters that the young dog caught formed shields, swords, and necklaces, which were returned as trophies. And one of the monster corpses that the young dog brought back shocked the Baskervilles there. The scene shifts to Hugo, who is surprised. Who caught what? Zone reports follow BJ. Van Baskerville, 8 years old, accidentally passed through an unexplored area during the exam and captured a level A+ dangerous monster, a Cerberus. Hugo couldn't believe it, claiming that the Cerberus is highly valued by our knightly order we once faced. He replied, "I was told it was injured earlier by savage tribes and was poisoned." He suspected what kind of poison could kill a Cerberus and why it was poisoned. He said there's nothing recorded in the hunting log. I asked about the missing part, but he said he was tired and went back to the dormitory. He found it interesting that this kid also believes in fame. Knowledge is power, and power is value. He spoke up. Honestly, I am very surprised because I thought talents like him often ask for forgiveness. I apologize. Forgive me. Hugo's face shows excitement. I am different from the previous generation of masters. I don't care about bloodlines when I train a dog. I don't care if it comes from royalty or a common family. What I care about is talent and determination. I say weaklings can come from good bloodlines and vice versa. Do you understand what I mean? I apologize. He ordered, "I'm fine, but I need something to lift his spirits, so I called the kid here." He replied, "I will call young Master Beach here." A moment later, Vico was summoned to Hugo's room, still calm and smiling. Hugo said, "I heard you killed a Boros during the practical exam. How did you do that?" The boy confidently replied, "I fed it chocolate to kill it." He was surprised. Chocolate. You explained that chocolate is actually a deadly poison for hellhounds. He let out a sigh. "I see. That's why you asked for chocolate." The boy respectfully replied, "Yes, Ron, I understand. They just keep asking and answering without even asking questions. This really should be a conversation for me." Hugo continued, "I heard that you didn't respond appropriately when he asked specifically about the hunt. Why is that?" "Because you answered with a blank face. Because he is not your master." He asked, "So who are you?" You replied with a question, "Because you are a member of the family, and the head of the family is your master." "Who could you be?" Hearing the answer, he was pleased. "You have learned very well. As a reward, the creature's essence you capture will be yours, and since you're first, I will grant you one wish." Thinking it over, Vico expressed his wish to enter the Great Library of Sacred Books, surprising both of them. The Great Library of Sacred Books, a massive library deep within the heart of Baskerville's main city. The library is one of the largest places in the Empire. Hugo Loisang's Human, the Holy Library. Do you know that only the Lord, Deputy Lord, and Corps members are allowed to enter? Vico closed his eyes. If not allowed, I will give up. I guess I have no choice but to sneak in afterwards. But just as he thought that, he agreed, "I can go in." His eyes widened in surprise. He continued, in the deepest part of the library, "I want you to read the Baskerville swordsmanship, which is the 6th technique located in the restricted area." 6th. Vico broke out in sweat. Baskerville swordsmanship. The 6th technique. Does Hugo allow the illegitimate child to read that swordsmanship? There's no case of an illegitimate child with the middle name Van having read at level 4. I don't need to get so excited. After all, it's just level 6. Currently, Hugo has reached the 7th level, his own breakthrough, and he can now reach the 9th level. I still haven't forgotten the insults I received for being Hugo's illegitimate child, but in this breakthrough I will surpass Hugo. Because I might possess the sacred swordsmanship tome, the true pure essence of Baskerville, which was discovered later in the succession, and written by the first head of the family, who eradicated the 7 disasters. And the one who will give me the sacred swordsmanship tome is Hugo Le Baskerville. He will be the one to hand it to me. He looks at you excitedly. I am really looking forward to it. Good luck. Vico bowed his head, thanking him, and promised to do his best to live up to the expectations, not knowing the true value of what was given to him. The guards were standing outside the door, and Vico slowly walked away, feeling a bit of hope for the swordsmanship faction, the Tooth of the Beast, the Crossbreach, the House of Swords, the Wisdom, and all the holy books. Every sword technique he wanted to learn before his return was here. In the Baskerville family, no matter how much mana an illegitimate child possesses, they are not allowed to learn sword techniques beyond the fourth fang. This is the family policy to prevent the dogs, originally meant to serve as guard dogs, from harming the heirs and those who hold the role of master. Vico approaches a book bound by chains. Is it full of stars? I never expected Hugo to suggest a ninth fang sword technique. If it had been before the regression, I wouldn't even dare to dream of this. You take out the key to unlock the chain. Well, I'm sure Hugo allowed it because he thought an 8-year-old kid couldn't remember this in a day. Before regression, Vico had studied the theory of the levels of claws in depth. You can quite accurately predict the theory behind the fifth fang. After drawing the fourth fang's foundation, I had to break the mana connection, which is why I couldn't use the fifth fang. The swordsmanship of the Baskerville family is classified by the number of fangs at each level, characterized by a red aura flowing along the blade whenever the fangs appear. Vico isn't concerned with the sixth brother, but has a different target. What you desire is an even higher level. Vico left the room. Logan was a bit surprised to see him, wondering if the young master had already left. The holy texts about swordsmanship here are even more profound, but before you finish speaking, Logan interrupted. If you plan to go back and get something you forgot, let us go and get the remains. Vico immediately replied, I'm done here. He was surprised, already finished? You can still read more before you leave. I plan to go through a few more holy books first, so just leave me be and get back to your work. When he left, Logan and Luke whispered to each other, there's nothing there but some random holy books. If it were me, I'd read the ones hidden deep inside. He doesn't understand their value because he's too young. Vico heard all these words but paid no mind, thinking, whatever, you guys go ahead. There's no way you could know that among the dusty pile of random holy books is a treasure waiting to be uncovered. He quickly went to the bookshelf upstairs. Vico noticed a thick book and he took it out, examining it carefully. Got it. The book has a title, Hidden Treasure. Vico was overjoyed. Yes, it was definitely it. A simple holy book about the first fang that the children of the Baskerville family didn't bother to read because all the pages had been torn out from the middle of the sacred text. No wonder it was considered a lowly holy book. I chuckled to myself, but I also realized the true value of this book. Before the regression, the team had San Vico join, and they discovered a strange relic on the border area at the Black and Red Mountain Peak. It is a piece of paper about swordsmanship, torn from a holy book, written in the Baskerville family's handwriting. Sensing something was wrong, Hugo ordered the search for the book among the vast collection of sacred scriptures. That book is a sacred scripture called The Hidden Sanctuary, written by an ancestor of the Baskerville family, revealing how to reach the 10th year of the Baskerville lineage. Driven mad by thoughts of the 10th year, Hugo unleashed the Baskerville dogs to find the remaining 6 pages. Learning that the other pages were hidden within powerful rival families, Hugo declared war on them and sent the dogs to attack anyone who dared resist. After countless sacrifices of the sand dogs, Vico's team finally found and presented the remaining pages to Hugo, who then feigned a cunning smile. Vico was furious, but thanks to that, Hugo surpassed the 7th year and reached the 9th year. The sand dog was like a stone blocking the way, but that didn't happen this time. The sand dog searched tirelessly and presented the pages to Vico. Vico still remembers the information on the lost pages, but the reason the sand dog cannot reach a higher level than level 4 is because Vico has not yet touched the sacred book containing the original script. The beginning of the 10th year is similar to the essence of the first year, the moment when the dog sand shows its aggression by drawing its sword, and all the slashes end within that limited season. Vico shouts out, "This book is a downgraded item filled with nonsense." As when the equipment is reset to its original position, the information is just a series of falsehoods. Before the regression, I was at level 4 in fangs and among the top ranks of swordmasters in aura. I will become as strong as I was before the regression. The sky is gradually brightening, the night clouds are dispersing, and more sunlight is filtering through the window. The sky through the glass looks tinged with pink, and Vico still tiredly sits reading the book. He closes the book. That's enough. He didn't think time had flown so quickly, and I spent the whole day studying, but thanks to that, I memorized the book and can read it backwards too. I can't sense the presence of the guards. Maybe I won't reach the 10th fang with this child's body, but I can reach the 5th, something I couldn't touch in the previous fight. Vico closed his eyes. Everything around him blurred, and a shadow figure stood before him. Vico's vision blurred as a red aura enveloped his right arm, and he swung his hand straight at the puppet in front of him, the Baskerville family's first fang. Vico continuously strikes the puppet, causing its body to crack apart. The second and third fangs, each blow from him is swift and decisive. Fourth fang. With a determined look, Vico clenched his teeth tightly, and before returning, he had lived a shallow life. You could have earned the title of high-level swordmaster through hard work, but Vico was looked down upon because he simply couldn't learn the right swordsmanship. The only reason he hasn't reached the fifth fang or higher is because Vico is an outsider child. I won't live through such a life again. Vico stared fiercely, and with lightning speed, he charged at the doll, imagining it was Hugo, swinging his sword repeatedly at him. The dummy's body instantly exploded, and Vico staggered back, gasping for breath. He looked at his hand, still incomplete, but he had finally reached the fifth fang. Vico clenched his fists tightly, feeling an overwhelming warmth inside, a bittersweet sensation, almost moved to tears of happiness for reaching the fifth fang. When he regained his senses, he looked around and wondered if there were any swords here. Throughout the history of the Baskerville family, he counted his dog's functions and realized he had drawn the fifth fang. If I boost my mana now, I will reach the strength I had before my regression. My mana is still growing steadily, and this time through enlightenment it will grow in multiple dimensions. In this journey, liquefied aura is a sign of a swordsman. It seems I have leveled up from a skilled swordsman to a low-level swordsman, a level usually reached only at 30 years old, but I achieved it at just 8. My brother smiled, and I now have better swordsmanship than before the regression. This skill won't stop at level 5 but can reach level 10 with unlimited potential. Dawn, Fang Strike, and Vico that I learned earlier made him stronger, but they limited growth. Compared to them, the increase is at home, mastering perfect swordsmanship that combines attack and defense with unlimited growth potential. You place the book in front of the window. If I focus on studying it, I can face an intermediate swordmaster. I have a 100% chance of winning if I assassinate, 50% if I confront directly. The question is how much I should reveal to Hugo. Vico's revealed strength can't be too great or too small. You need to give him a few things he wants so you can gain more benefits from him. You placed the glasses in front of the book so that the sunlight focused through the lens and started a fire. Vico watched it burn and chuckled mischievously. With this, the chance for Hugo and his fiery dogs to reach the 10th level has disappeared. Young Master Bachia, what have you done? You seem so indifferent. Sorry, I accidentally burned the book because I left the magnifying glass on it. I will report to the manager if needed. Logan frowned, thinking the young master shouldn't see this as a fault. At the door, it was our mistake for not paying attention to you. Luckily, only one book was burned. Vico agreed. The messy pile of books isn't worth your trouble, especially with the conflict with the Mog family at the Daquisao mine. You probably don't have time to worry about these small matters, so it's best to consider this as if it never happened. Logan was a bit confused. If the young master can overlook this, then... Before he could finish his sentence, Vico had already turned and walked away. So let's keep this secret between us. You must be very busy. Sorry to take up your time. The two of them nodded seriously and replied, Yes, young master. Logan forced a smile. Young Master Bachia, you're really a good person. I agree. You even consider the feelings of people like us. He truly is a young man worth respecting. In the dark and quiet room, the only light comes from the chandelier hanging from the ceiling. Vico stands in front of Hugo, who is sitting in a chair. So, have you achieved enlightenment yet? I do. A little. Hearing this, he smiled. You have sensed and recognized something in the library. Vico stroked his chin, feeling something warm and sharp, yet also soft like the waves. I feel something like that. Zone and Hugo immediately looked at each other. Perhaps it was an aura. An aura as proof that someone has entered the swordsmanship world, even for relentless geniuses. It takes at least 15 years to reach the realm of a basic swordmaster. Hugo frowned, thinking to himself, what am I even thinking? The boy's only 8 years old. Can I see what he just said? You smile happily, kid. Vico is taken to the front amid the crowd. The others are still stunned in the vast arena, while Vico now stands beneath the arena's entrance, holding a steel sword. Zone wondered if it was okay for the young master to test the skills of the air like that. Hugo chuckled and said, I will bring a monster suitable for him. He listened with some suspicion as a monster. The ground trembled and the steel gate opened. Hugo continued, Yes, I starved this monster a bit to make it more sensitive. Oros is brought out, its body wrapped in iron chains, its eyes fiercely furious, growling constantly with a dangerous glare. Everyone was surprised. Isn't it too much to have an 8-year-old boy fight Oros? Usually only a 15-year-old would be strong enough for this. Hugo looks down from above. If anything happens, the knights probably won't just stand and watch. He gestures to release Oros. The iron chains are slowly removed, its chest heaving with determination, breathing heavily. Oros clenches its fists and roars loudly. It quickly lunged toward Vico. Even as the monster approached, he remained calm. Vico swung his sword, and its arm was immediately cut off. Seeing the scene before them, everyone was stunned. Oros was also extremely panicked when he saw his hand cut off, blood spurting out. Vico quickly closed in underneath. A single strike cut off its leg as well, causing Oros to lose balance and fall down. At this point, it began to feel fear. Due to Oros's rare ability of super recovery, it still didn't activate. There was no way for the RANKC monster to face RANKB plus like Hamarat's Hellhound. Position 2, Hamarat, the Hellhound. The entire arena begins to bloom. That really is an 8-year-old boy. How can a kid do that with that body? It hasn't even used mana yet. Hugo remained silent, observing everything. Vico looked up, thinking to himself that he still hadn't shown him what he discovered in the library. So I will show him. With many hopes. His face darkened, his eyes seeming to glow. Ron stared, sweat pouring down. And that was... Vico enveloped his sword with a large amount of red aura, consisting of aura. Oros was trying to stand up now. Blood had already been shed quite a bit. It hadn't yet recovered when your sword flew straight at it. Vico successfully shattered Oros into pieces. Hugo stops his evil ways, holding the person back, as he sees Vico's powerful silhouette. Ron adjusts his glasses, revealing it to be the leather armor of a low-level elite swordsman. Congratulations, family head. The genius of this generation has appeared. He's still in shock. Do you really think that? Ron continued, saying that even among the hearts of all the clans in the Empire, there was no genius like this. Hot told him to stop, Ron. Take a good look. There's something strange about that Oros. I don't quite understand. Please forgive me. He explained that Oros's ability is super recovery, but this one keeps bleeding. The kid only won because this Oros had become much weaker. Ron wondered, could that day really be about honesty and happiness? Vico paused, then said, Wait, father. Hearing that, Hot immediately became a bit suspicious. Cal smiled confidently and asked, Is there anyone stronger than Oros? Everyone looked at each other with a fierce expression. As soon as Vico finished speaking, everyone was stunned and confused. You're thinking that it's better to reveal just enough strength. If luck is on your side, your achievements will be recognized and you might have the chance to break away from Hugo, maybe be sent to the wilderness or enrolled in an academy. Hugo smirked. It seems the Oros we sent all the way to the desert to capture isn't enough to satisfy my son's hunger. Pichin's words make sense. The boy is still at an age where he needs real combat experience. So he asked John, the manager, it seems that recently when we subdued the barbarian group, we captured something for testing. John replied, Yes, there is indeed one left. It seems very sensitive because it hasn't been fed for a long time. Hugo ordered, Bring it here. As soon as the monster was revealed, the audience was stunned. Even Vico's eyes widened in shock at its appearance. A giant pig, 10 times his size, wrapped in dozens of chains, growling with grumbles that made it hard for the small person below to bear. Vico calmly asked, Father, may I start now? Hugo agreed. Go ahead. At the signal, go now. Just as the command is given, a series of chains start to tighten. Both are ready for battle. Vico didn't hesitate and immediately rushed to attack. After the big one was freed from the chains, it was eager to stretch its muscles, fists clenched tightly. He immediately punched down hard where Vico was standing, causing rocks and dirt to fly everywhere, but suddenly he had already flown behind the big guy and drew his sword, slashing across him. It just means its shell is too hard. Even though Vico tried his best, he couldn't pierce through it. A moment later, he landed on the ground without attacking anymore. Everyone is surprised and wondering why he didn't attack when the opening was there just now. Hugo, watching from afar, smiles happily and thinks it was a good decision. The Cho has such a high recovery ability that if you can't deal a fatal or decisive blow, you're just wasting energy. So if you want to hunt a Cho, you need a strategy. Looking back at Vico, you must keep dodging the surrounding attacks of the big one. Now, the Cho is also panting from exhaustion, having punched non-stop without gaining anything. The other students are avoiding the debate, and he's dodging every move carefully, trying to restrain the Cho. Can an 8-year-old really make such a judgment, or is he truly a genius? Vico was panting, but thought to himself that this one was quite slow, so he didn't feel much pressure, but he needed to act convincingly. He could easily kill something like this if he wasn't more perceptive, so he had to kill it as naturally as possible. The best way is to use the strength of the Cho to counterattack when it strikes me. As soon as he thought of that, Vico immediately launched a move to strike the big guy's shoulder. Immediately, the beast knelt down, its shoulders bleeding non-stop, causing it to scream in agony. Everyone watching was stunned. The Cho was cut, but it would recover immediately unless it was a critical hit. Just as I thought, you can't kill the Cho using the first fang of Pascal View swordsmanship, but an 8-year-old doing this is impressive. Vaiko watched the big kid recovering from his wounds, secretly calculating that it's indeed impossible to pierce the thick skin of the Cho with the first fang. If I keep using Biljabap's continuous blood loss skill, the Cho will die soon, but that would be pointless. Hugo then spoke, "You can stop now. Continuing would be very dangerous," so Vaiko didn't let him finish and replied, "I'm almost there. I think if I keep fighting a little longer, I'll figure something out. If I can't defeat it by tomorrow afternoon, I'll give up the fight." Hugo was a bit surprised at first, but then helpless. He said, "Go ahead. Right now the big guy seems to be going crazy, switching to a state of fighting with all his strength." Even Vaiko gradually shifted to a serious state, wondering how much strength he should reveal. Perhaps the others saw a vision of enlightenment and leveled up during the fight. Now, faced with the big one's attack, he drew his sword to block one of Cho's strikes. It was so embarrassing that it turned into anger. I never expected such a small human to be capable of this. Now, Vaiko is truly attacking seriously, and inside I'm a bit hopeful. I'm looking forward to Hugo's reaction after seeing this. Immediately, countless thorns shot out, surrounding Cho's body, but at that moment, Vaiko performed a decisive strike, slicing through his neck in one blow, and seeing this scene, Butler John was stunned with wide eyes. The students around were in shock, not daring to blink for even a second. In the Baskerville swordsmanship family, where blood swords are sacred, a person's life depends on a formula, and by around 15 years old, one can transfer mana into a sword. And at that moment, most of the Cho hunters would learn the first fang of the Baskerville swordsmanship. But for the first time in the Baskerville family history, an 8-year-old child received what his siblings received at 5 to 18 years old. The second fang, a rare being born. Back to the fight scene. Vaiko smiled foolishly. The girl said, "He's gone for good." Hugo's expression was very unpleasant. It took him a while to catch up with this pace. Hugo looked at the large Cho lying flat on the ground, unable to help but doubt what he had just seen. A week later, in the dining room, only a few shadows moved, and Vaiko scooped a spoonful of soup with a look of despair. He complained that no matter how many times he ate this stew, he still couldn't get used to its strange taste. Then he looked around and noticed that others would avoid him whenever they saw him looking their way. Vaiko understood the situation on his own. They started keeping their distance from me since that day, so I guess this is normal in Baskerville, where strength is everything. The shadow of him reminded me of my father's expression that day. Hugo's confusion really shows how much I endured. Actually, the power Vaiko revealed publicly as the second fastest in Baskerville is that of an average swordsman, but his true strength is only the 5th fastest. Quite weak, comparable to a low-ranked swordsman. He pondered that if he included the control skills he received and the super recovery, he would definitely be stronger than an ordinary grand swordmaster. I'm definitely hungrier than ever after getting Biljabap, and suddenly a group of people appears behind me. It's the 3 brothers High Bro, Mid Bro, and Low Bro, and it seems like all 3 have something they're hesitant to say. Vaiko frowned and glared, thinking to himself what these bastards want. Then he straightforwardly said, "I was too lenient with you guys before. All 3 of you went crazy." High Bro stepped forward to explain. "No, that's not it. We just wanted to say that when you killed Saboros in control, you looked really cool, but I took back my words and suddenly threw all the food out." All 3 anxiously asked Han if he was okay, if he was fine, if he was all right. Vaiko gently rocked him and immediately thought, what is this? Are they trying to play both sides, or are they trying to deceive me? You're angry, clenching your fists tightly, clearly upset. Maybe I should just punch them first and then think about it. Just as I was about to organize things, the butler suddenly appeared and said, "Sir Vaiko." Startled, he stammered in response. "Steward Zahn." He adjusted his glasses slightly and said seriously, "Sir, you need to meet with the Lord quickly. Right now, the carriage has stopped in front of a fortress, a pure white flag fluttering in the wind, and Adop suddenly speaks loudly, 'It's been a while.' Adop Mo, the vice head of the Mo clan, I hope Hugo still looks the same. I hope this year's annual event won't end with many problems." Hugo nodded in agreement. He continued, "Last year, both clans had members seriously injured. If that's not an issue, then what is?" Hugo's eyes narrowed. It was just a minor wound, yet it became a serious injury. It seems the Mo clan's descendants are exaggerating a bit too much. Adop quickly interrupted, saying it must be because our Mo family is a noble and prestigious clan. A noble mage family, the Mo family, the blood swordsmith family, the Baskerville family. At first, these two clans didn't usually conflict like this. This is the words of the emperor from 2 generations ago, where magic and swordsmanship are complementary skills. According to the emperor, the Baskerville and Mo families had begun joint training, with only children aged 8 to 15 participating, and the annual event started with a very positive atmosphere. But disputes arose. A dispute over the sovereignty of a ruby pearl arose between the Baskerville and Mo territories, causing tension between the clan leaders. But due to orders, joint training must continue. So, someone who is not the head of the Mo family but his younger brother Adopt begins to meet with the Baskerville family as the representative vice head. Adopt suddenly speaks up, "Oh right, I heard there's a rising star in the Baskerville family. A once-in-a-century genius from the Baskerville family would be a great fortune for the empire." Hugo quickly added, "This isn't something you should be focusing on." This statement surprised him a bit. This sneaky snake really reacts when praised for his child, which is quite rare. We can also call this a double stroke of luck, as a genius has appeared in our Mo family. "Come in, Camus, and ask your question." And immediately the door swings open slowly, footsteps begin to sound crisp and clear, while Hugo remains calm, looking straight ahead. Adopt's arm rested on her shoulder. "This is her daughter named Camus. Come on, kid, you should ask the owner, right?" Camus confidently said, "Sir, you are the scoundrel who stole our family's ruby, right? Please return it to us, that ruby." Hugo immediately glared at Camus in anger. "Trung." Adopt hesitated. "This kid, what are you saying?" Camus calmly continued, "But that's what you said. You said that the contemptible young fool stole our family's red sapphire like a common thief." He hesitated. "I said that, in the carriage, before I got off." About an hour and 42 minutes ago, Hugo gritted his teeth and interrupted sharply, calling that contemptible young noble a mere pawn. Adopt started coughing, seeming to be a bit confused about what was going on. Hugo chuckled softly and shook his head. "What does a naive young owl know? You don't need to bother defending the Mo family's teaching strategies to me." With that tone, Adopt was startled and looked to the side at Camus. Hugo's expression suddenly changed as he calmly interrupted. "That's enough. It seems the Mo family doesn't teach their descendants proper manners." Adopt quickly pulls Camus back. What is he saying to a child? Demanding repayment of the Empire's sword debt to oppress an 8-year-old, his tone is somewhat sarcastic. I guess the Mo family doesn't teach their descendants not to covet what belongs to others. As the door opens suddenly, the butler respectfully asks, "Sir, I have brought young Master Bachir." Adopt glanced back, thinking to himself, "That kid is the rising star of the Baskerville family?" He was immediately startled when Camus had already left his seat without him noticing. Camus is now standing in front of Vico. "What did you just say?" Adopt hesitated to speak. Vico stared in surprise. "Camus? No way." Camus raised his voice and asked, "What's with that expression?" Vico thought to himself, "The queen of the Mo family? So this is Camus Mo when she was young?" Among the many noble supreme mages, she is still called a genius, having conquered all monsters and demons of Mount LaRue Eleanor herself, and her fame spreads widely. Not only that, her beautiful appearance captivates the upper class, enough to make the royal court see her as a representative of the government. However, this is a story from the distant future. Right now, she's just an 8-year-old girl. Camus was a bit angry, wondering why Kwang Hong Gosh belonged to those Tacoma people. Vico slowly continued, saying she had to work hard just to get here, only to cause trouble like a child. This statement immediately made Hugo and Adopt turn their heads to look. Camus looked surprised, saying, "You just caused a commotion." And Vico nodded and continued, "Yes, she's causing a fuss right now. She immediately withdraws her power, so I will teach you why that Kwang Hong Goch belongs to the Mo family in a way so simple even your brain can understand." Everyone turned to look at Camus, her tone a bit arrogant. "Now I will try to make it understandable even for someone as stupid as you." Vico thought, "A ice model A, and I thought they would fight or something, just take it. The red jade is usually used as a magic ingredient, and the Baskerville family doesn't need to use them," Camus replied. "Right?" You laughed and said, "But renting out territories, huh? It seems the biggest tragedy for you guys is that no one in Baskerville is dumb enough to rent out their land just to get a small amount of money back. The Baskerville family isn't interested in that pile of rubies. We only care about the territory, which is why we told you not to invade it. After all, the ones annoyed by not having those rubies are you guys, right?" Camus raised his voice and said, "All right, I will show you exactly why we have rights over that pile of rubies. This land belongs to your family, and this side belongs to mine." Camus' arm suddenly shot forward, her tone a bit hurried. "So now, whose hand is this?" Vico looked down below, asking as her hand reached across our territory. "Whose hand would it belong to?" Vico suddenly grabbed Camus' wrist, smiling knowingly, "Clearly belonging to me." Camus' cheeks immediately flushed red with sparkling eyes. She nervously asked, "What are you talking about? Why would I belong to you?" "You're so stupid," Vico said in a deep voice. "No one said she belongs to me." Hearing your words, he immediately drew the knife from behind his back. Everyone saw Vico's action. His face remained unchanged, and I said, "Her hand belongs to me." It seems Camus doesn't understand what's happening right now, and Hugo has already seen Vico's terrifying face. At this moment, Vico is gripping Camus' wrist tightly, and she starts to scream in fear, calling for help and her child. Adolphe angrily shouted, "You idiot! Get away from my niece right now!" Vico immediately let go of her wrist and turned to look, and Camus ran over to Adolphe, saying, "He's trying to break my hand." He angrily raised his voice, "Marco, what's going on here?" Hugo quickly glanced to the side and signaled, then he spoke loudly, "Enough joking around, my son." Vico chuckled softly. "Sorry, my child." His finger lightly touched the blade. At home, he's used to killing like that. Adolphe angrily continued, "A fake knife. What kind of toy are you giving children to play with?" Vico immediately bowed. "I only meant to tease him a little. I didn't expect him to cry. I'm sorry, forgive me." The children in the Baskerville family have been playing with toys like that since they were young. Adolphe was a bit surprised. "Can you really joke like that?" Hugo chuckled and said, "It's just kids playing together. Do you think you're overreacting? I have a few things to discuss with you about the ruby mine, and I'm sure you'll want to sit down and talk about it. So just let those two kids settle it themselves," Camus said with a frown. I won't forgive this easily. Watch out." Vico didn't say anything else, only smiled at Camus as the duel between the Baskerville and Mo families began. An event for children aged 8 to 15 to gather and fight each other, with 8-year-olds competing in mana theory or sensing mana, but the focus is on the survival battles of the 15-year-olds. All eyes are on one place in this year's duel: the Mo family of mages, Camus Mo, the swordmaster of the Baskerville family, Vico Van Baskerville. At the request of the Mo clan, the match between the two geniuses will follow real training rules. Just then, the voice of the referee sounded. Camus calmly spoke, "Get ready. When I'm ready, there will be no raising of the hand first." As soon as she issued the command, she immediately withdrew from the magic battle, and everyone was wide-eyed in amazement as the 4 layers of magic appeared before their eyes. I thought the girl could only cast a spell suitable for a 15-year-old child, but casting 4 spells at once, she truly lives up to the reputation of the Mo clan's genius mage. At this moment, Camus has already begun the battle, and Vico's entire body is moving skillfully. Suddenly, he speaks up, saying it would be better to focus all your strength on one spell to attack, don't you think? Camus replied, "Why should I listen to you? You're just a fool who knows nothing about magic." She immediately cast a shield as Vico approached. The wall cut, Vico's palm clenched tightly. "A fool indeed. Hearing you say that makes me really sad." Camus was startled and stepped back, amazed at how easily he passed through the wall. This is the power of the Baskerville clan when immersed in the Styxau River. Her eyes suddenly closed. "I don't care anymore." Camus closed his eyes for a moment before opening them again. Vico's lips curl up as his arm appears before Camus, who quickly recoils backward. Adolphe's eyes widen in amazement. Was that just a snap of the fingers? Camus grits his teeth and asks, "Why did you snap my chin? Are you holding back because your opponent is a girl?" "She's furious about it. I won't let this go," Vico said with a smile, pointing at his forehead. "There's a bump there now. Let's end it here before anything unexpected happens." Vico thought to himself, "What's the big deal? I can go around to her." He immediately raised his arm. "Fine if you like it, then I'll do it." Vico quickly punched the sand wall in front of Camus' eyes. Vico calmly asked, "Now I have a question for you. Whose hand just went through the wall?" Camus was startled. "Oh my!" Vico suddenly appeared in her hand. She replied, "It's the hand of the stronger one." Camus couldn't react and was thrown backward again. A large bump has appeared on her forehead now. Camus, clutching his head, stared intently at Vico. She shouted angrily, "I will kill you." Vico quickly moved aside, surprisingly still able to fight. Kids these days are so stubborn. "Now I just need to... want to? I could break her neck in a second, but doing so might cause trouble, so I don't know what to do to make her calm down. It's better to let others handle it since it seems another fight is still going on nearby." Milano's tone was a bit sarcastic. "Such weak magic, I will cut down all those spells," Vico thought to himself. "You smile a bit. I can take advantage of those 2 idiots," Camus angrily says. "Why do you keep throwing like that?" She immediately starts to regain her strength. "Don't run away. Fight properly." Sky begins to regain his strength. "Let's see who's better in this fight." Milano tightly grips his sword and shouts, "Charge in!" Vico suddenly steps back. "Good!" The boy hesitated for a moment, then spoke up. Camus paused suddenly. "Huh?" Vico pointed behind him. "Get ready to cast a defensive spell." It seems Camus still doesn't understand what's going on, and even Adop, standing up suddenly, shouts "No," just as a burst of flames suddenly appears across the sky. All eyes are fixed on the thick fog of smoke. They stare in shock. "Oh no, Miss Camus. No, Miss Camus is..." Adop couldn't help but panic as he looked at the foggy village and shouted, "Camus!" She was inside, thinking to herself, "Is that your voice? What should I do now? I avoided injury with magic, but fire magic has burned all my clothes. Because of the smoke, they still don't know what's happening to us. If everyone sees us after the smoke clears, Camus will hug her shoulders nervously, and everyone will laugh at her. She'll be so embarrassed she might die." She kept thinking, "Someone help me." Camus suddenly looked up at the person in front. "Huh?" She seemed unable to believe her eyes. "You?" Vico said coldly. "Put this on." Camus hesitated, then continued. "Why would you protect your opponent?" Vico chuckled. "Then I'll take back my coat," she interrupted. "I didn't mean it like that, but then you won't have a coat. You still sound so indifferent. I don't really care about things like that." Camus frowned, thinking, "What an idiot. Why would he care about me?" She continued, "Hey, your hand is bleeding." Vico immediately looked down. A scratch on the Stig River. The swordsman must have added a bit of blood there. At this moment, the thick fog has gradually lifted, revealing Camus and Vico clearly in front of us. Adolphe sighed in relief. "It's still safe, thank God." Everyone started to discuss. Quaicomo was sitting on the floor, but the one bleeding was a Baskerville child, making it hard to determine who the winner was. But look at his body. You have to thank the Stig River. Just by looking and feeling those muscles, it's enough to know how hard he's trained. Adolphe quietly muttered to Camus, a brilliant 8-year-old, as bright lights shone throughout the corridor. Hugo asked loudly, "So how did the battle with Quaico turn out for the Mo clan?" Vico slowly replied, "It's very interesting. I understood the meaning of this event once again." He then said seriously, "A fight with a mage is very different from a fight with a swordsman." Hugo asked confidently, "So why didn't you finish him off? You seem a bit hesitant, I must say. I was a little confused when facing a Quaico." Hugo gradually lowered his gaze, realizing that lowering his guard in a battle could lead to injury and using that wound as a lesson for the future. Vico paused and looked behind, wondering if Hugo was worried about him. "When I was young, I don't remember much about Hugo. He was always cold, aloof, and very violent. People often say his personality is terrible because he lost his wife and his eldest daughter, but anyway, it's none of my business." Hugo suddenly asked, "What do you think we should do with our ruby mine?" Vico quickly replied, "I think we should abandon it." Hugo glanced to the side and suggested abandoning control of the ruby mine. Vico explained calmly that the main goal of the Baskerville family was to establish a vast territory. The ruby mine is located downstream of Black Hyatt Mountain, and the monsters and G-Man villagers there are a major obstacle for us. If we deploy the Mo family wisely, we can minimize the hostility in the process of exploring that land. Hugo quickly nodded. "That's right. If the Mo family controls the ruby mine, they will leave someone in that area. We just need to push the monsters and Manzi to attack that area. Hitting 2 targets with 1 arrow. Ruby will be bathed in the blood of enemies. The Mo family will have to think carefully before daring to enter our territory. Your thoughts are about 90% the same as mine. Because you're pondering. Of course it will turn out that way, because it was his idea from the beginning. I'm the one responsible for the monsters and the Manzi attacking them. We should be cautious of the Mo family." Hugo shook his head and continued, "No need. I've got the whole area covered." The two of them suddenly stopped and looked to the side. Adopt sternly said, "Here you are, clan leader. Can we talk before I go back?" Camus is now hiding behind Adopt, his warm energy shining through the window. Hugo spoke calmly. "Is there something you need to say?" "Vice Chief," Adopt quickly added, "I have something to discuss with you. We are considering resolving the ruby mine issue peacefully, possibly through a usage fee." He frowned. "What? A fee for entering my territory?" He calmly continued, "What do you think about the engagement?" He interrupted. "Who are you thinking of?" He continued slowly. "What do you think about the eldest son of Baskerville and the eldest daughter of Mo? My grandchild is a genius. This child has both talent and knowledge. Nothing is lacking. I am sure it will be a perfect match for the Baskerville family's genius." Hugo calmly said, "My eldest son is 25 years old this year. You don't think age is an issue, right? Adopt still relaxed, 8 and 25, just a 17-year difference. It's not much. That's not a problem." Camus suddenly interrupted, saying, "I won't accept anyone weaker than my mother." Adopt chuckled and continued, "Camus, If you plan to marry someone stronger than your mother, you'll have to stay single for life. She shook her head. That's my condition. And you also don't like a big age gap. You want someone your age or a little younger. Adopt continued seriously, kid. This isn't a buffet for choosing. Camus spoke loudly. I know, and I have no intention of playing around here. Suddenly, she looked away. Adopt was surprised and looked ahead. Huh? Adopt remembered that the person standing sixth in the family, extremely powerful in the Mo clan, a prestigious and influential place, was an uncle who doted greatly on his niece. Adopt warned, I won't tell you many times, but talent alone isn't enough to be Camus's husband, because she still doesn't understand what's going on and just coldly looks at them. Adopt hesitated for a moment before speaking. Don't say it's not allowed. That kid is an illegitimate child of the clan leader. No matter what happens, he will only be a small fish in a big pond later on. Hugo's eyes narrowed. This guy is really getting on my nerves. And also, the marriage arrangement is an important matter and a decision for those involved, son. What are you thinking? It seems Camus is still waiting for an answer, while Vico keeps staring at her silently. The boy hesitated for a moment, then suddenly spoke up. I agree. Adopt was stunned. What? This brat? Adopt was furious. What did he say? He would agree if that was the required condition. He wondered why it dared to act so arrogantly in front of his only direct descendant daughter of the family, and Camus was very excited, which meant he didn't hate him. He was easily embarrassed. Hugo explained that direct and collateral lines don't matter here. Sometimes they can produce inferior children, and sometimes they can produce exceptional ones. Adopt doubted him? Is he really that talented? Thinking that, he stepped forward in front of Vico. Vico silently assessed the man in front of him. Hugo placed a hand on Vico's shoulder. This arranged confrontation was not his idea. I don't think anyone at Baskerville suits Camus. He wondered why this kid was so mature. Adopt asked again, why aren't you answering? Are you listening to me? Vico's gaze became firm. I stopped listening because you said you weren't talking to me. Camus was surprised. How could she be so bold? Hugo beside her also looked pleased, feeling mocked. Adopt chuckled excitedly. He made a proposal. Can I have a private talk with this child? Hugo replied, the great wizard of the empire wants to question the 8-year-old child next. Adopt chuckled. He's going to be my granddaughter's husband. He insisted, and I request this as her uncle. Camus quickly intervened, saying that's not the case. Adopt reminds him to be quiet. Sometimes these things are necessary. He then turns to Hugo and asks, so what will you say? Hugo agrees. Fine. Hugo agrees if you insist that much. The scene shifts to the training arena where Vico and Adopt are now present. Standing outside the arena, Hugo and Camus are watching the upcoming battle. Adopt challenges. Show me your full strength. Vico replied, yes, I understand. He secretly thought you will fail if I give my all. Adopt arrogantly said, I will let you have this one. He will use magic. A bottle gradually takes shape. Camus is amazed. He is creating a bottle, and the mark of a bottle has already been completed, filled with water inside. Adopt places the jar on his head. I will fight with a water-filled jar on top. If you can drop a single drop of water, you win. Vico assessed that he is a very strong person. In previous battles, I didn't even hope to get close to him. This is a chance to experience some of that power. He glances at Hugo, thinking Hugo would allow him to think that way. He wonders, what are his chances of winning if he fights him with all his strength from the previous encounter? 50% if he ambushes him, 10% if they face directly. Adopt challenges. Come on. Vico moves without using all his strength, just enough to satisfy Hugo. He rushes forward, ready to test the skills of the great assassin. Camus stands outside, surprised by Vico's actions. Camus shouts loudly, you can't go in directly. As soon as she finished speaking, Vico's sword clashed with a protective barrier cast by Adopt. That was the right response. A magical shield is the best way to counter a swordsman. Vico quickly stepped back, and Adopt explained that this shield is hard to break without a special aura. He used fire magic. Now is the time to attack, as fire arrows streak toward Vico, who must retreat further away. Camus, you're going too far. You wouldn't do this when fighting me, Adopt muttered. Who are you trying to impress now? Adopt challenges, you bastard. I won't forgive you. Hugo thought to himself, that attack speed is hard to dodge. It seems this fire will show what it can do, Vico wondered. Is this the level of his skill? He assesses the situation, realizing he's regressed to a 6-year-old child, but he can use his previous battle experience to lure him into lowering his shield, feeling confident that he can even kill him. Vico charges again, striking the barrier forcefully, continuously launching deliberate attacks. Adopt sneered. No matter how many times you do it, it won't change anything. Your sword can't break my shield. Vico swung his sword again, this time with incredible force, causing Adopt's shield to crack into many pieces. Before Vico's power, the shield started to develop a huge water-like crack. Surprised, Adopt repeatedly attacked the same spot, like an absolutely precise machine, with focus and swordsmanship worthy of recognition. He looked at Vico, gripping his sword tightly, but Vico once again relentlessly attacked the existing water stain. Adopt remained unfazed. This was no different from throwing stones at a wall. One should consider the durability of my wall and the strength of your sword. There is some praise for stubbornness and trying to break it, but you should reconsider your opponent before using such tactics. You have potential, but still lack many things to be engaged to our granddaughter. He hasn't finished speaking when the water jar on his head is pierced, water spilling out wildly. Adopt stops pressing. The single sword broke my jar. Vico replies, I think that's enough. Do you want to challenge me to a marriage, or should I make the jar drip more? Camus was once again overwhelmed by you, and Syme was caught off guard, which was a coincidence, but also meant you defeated my brother, implying the engagement. Hugo sneered. A mere coincidence. The broken piece of the sword accidentally shattered the vase. He watched Vico return. Vico of the Baskerville family. Hugo praised, perhaps I have raised a loyal hunting dog. 7 years later, during the Baskerville family training, Oxbear with a fierce face roared loudly, opening its mouth to reveal sharp teeth in a threatening display. Everyone remained calm, watching its every move. Oxbear suddenly charged fiercely at its prey, and the swordsman did not hesitate to rush forward. The long sword and power launched a direct attack on it, and the battle was chaotic. Hadeen, a Baskerville family trainer, stood silent for a long time. He suddenly spoke, saying that if he could get behind their legs, the swordsman would focus intensely on this battle and immediately strike at Oxbear. All three, highbrow, midbrow, and lowbrow, also look full of confidence. Hadeen immediately realizes and thinks, just as expected from the young master's highbrow, midbrow, and lowbrow, their auras have indeed been perfected. Dark red. Oxbear also shows no intention of surrendering, glaring intently. The swordsmen continue to fight resolutely to the end. After a while, bloodstains appeared all over Zan's face as applause and praise filled the air. Everyone, well done. Hadeen said seriously, just now, everyone reached the level of a skilled swordsman. Keep practicing diligently, and you will master Baskerville swordsmanship faster than anyone else. From now on, the 7-year training is over. Unlike the Oxbear confined, the Oxbear facing Leruel is much stronger, and even I am not sure I can handle it. Remember, after today's confrontation with the demon, it will be just a small matter in the journey ahead, and death is closer to us than you think. With talent and enthusiasm, you will overcome the upcoming difficulties or accumulate experience and try to survive with everything you find hard. Now, I congratulate all of you on your successful graduation. I hope everyone will be lucky in the battle. Then, lively discussions took place, and I had 3 options. The first was Doberman, the second was Pitbull, and the third was Roadwell. The other swordsman also honestly said, so we won't be watching the road. I want to join my own nightly wolf team. There are a total of 7 missions for the knights of the Baskerville family. Each mission will test our minds. Currently, the tasks we can take on are investigation, protection, assassination, suppression, and direct confrontation. The 2 swordsmen are still whispering. Moreover, where do you think he's going? Who? The other guy glances over with a clearly tired look, obvious enough. A commanding and serious voice rings out, Vico van Baskerville. Vico, hearing his name, looks down in confusion as the comments grow louder. He's taking down a bigger Oxbear than the one we just fought. I guess he's a high-level elite swordsman. I heard he's already reached level 3 quickly. Level 3, so he's on par with those thugs from the guild. Vico silently thought in frustration, it's taking longer than I expected. In fact, he's currently at an intermediate swordsman level. 5th fastest, Vico took 7 years to level up in magic. But Vico just sat there, lost in thought. This progress was still slower than he had expected. John called out from behind, Young Master Vico. He turned around in surprise. Barrymore, he continued. The master is looking for you, young master. It seems your position has been decided. Vico listened in shock and slowly replied, I understand. After a moment, Vico also stood in front of the Lord's door. You calmly stepped in. Long time no see, sir. Vico hesitantly asked if you were well, but received no response, leaving him confused and anxious. Vico still asked, What is the scar on your nose from? Hugo replied, When I faced some tribes on LaRue Eleanor, I was attacked by an archer. You're curious, did he catch them? But he replied, No, however, I left a scar on that child's face. Anyway, I congratulate you on completing your training. Vico nodded and said thank you. Hugo warned that it will be even harder from now on, making him briefly reflect. Is he talking about his own military position? In his previous life, Vico became a squire knight of the Papoon team and was sent to LaRue Eleanor Mountain for 21 months, where he was thrown into a deadly battlefield. The children of the Baskerville family are divided into the weak or mercenaries after age 15. Mercenaries die on the battlefield, while the weak learn about politics and governance, and then the mercenaries serve the weak. The key that narrows the gap between the two sides is Baskerville's swordsmanship, and the fifth fang is also the reason why Vico's sword in his past life only reached the fourth fang. Vico kept pondering, unable to believe Hugo would let his genius child waste his talent in the weak talent course. Hugo then sang a line of thought, "Son, I want you to try becoming a senator." Vico was surprised. A senator, he continued, an executive and legislative representative in Baskerville's territory who maintains justice and attracts businesses to operate here. Basically, I will be in charge of everything big and small in the family. I secretly thought, Hugo really let a genius kid like me become a weakling. Hugo continued, "What you have achieved in a decade is why I appointed you as vice-consul of a city called Underdog, a city of the weak. Currently, both the consul and vice-consul are opposed. Do you agree with this proposal?" Vico calmly said, "I will follow your wishes, but I have a few things to say." He then asked, "What is it?" "You are presenting the issue of the valuable mine dispute with the Morgur family." Hugo casually asked, "Do you have an issue with the Morgur family? I didn't say I would give a reward. Are you just asking about that?" Vico straightforwardly replied, "I am." He sincerely expressed that he wanted to go home. "If this request is too difficult, you don't need to worry about it." Hugo quickly approved it. "It's not a problem at all. I believe you won't act foolishly, my son." Vico happily assured him that he wouldn't do anything to upset him, no matter how many times he heard it, though he still couldn't get used to this guy calling him his son. Hugo said he would help you get promoted. In the previous life, Vico never imagined such things could happen. Duan was walking slowly when he suddenly stopped and said, "Young master," he gently said, "the master values you very much, young master. That day they didn't immediately send you to the front lines and even gave you the consul position. Wasn't that the path of a future ruler? I believe they valued you highly back then." Vico coldly states that I only do my duty as a vice-consulate if I perform well. If Vico can effectively use the authority of a vice-consulate, then I can improve my skills to a higher level more safely with my thoughts, and I will have a place for execution. I will let you feel that sensation. Hugo Le Baskerville. Right now, the quiet atmosphere of Baskerville territory in Underdog City is illuminated by the sun shining through the tall buildings. Sam Ben pointed and ordered, "Tomorrow the new vice-consulate will arrive. You must clean and tidy this place. Since they come from the main castle, pay special attention, the maids fearfully obey." Yes, those guys were just talking and working. I wonder what the vice-consul will be like. I hope that day will be someone experienced in business. Haven't you heard? I heard she was only 15 that day. What, 15? What can we expect from a 15-year-old? We're doomed this time. Holland saw the small figure from behind and wondered who this kid was, then realized another staff member had brought him in afterward. He frowned. This was not a place where someone like him was allowed to enter. Because he stepped back quickly, let go immediately. Everyone was stunned. This is Halen feeling awkward. I see the day arrived early. Deputy consul, that guy also thought to himself. Why do you have to come a day earlier? You indifferent, order, get some wine, and prepare the bed now. I need to organize a party, the two of them exclaimed in confusion. A party? After a while, everything had happened, and he was the office manager at Underdog, feeling quite fed up. Chihuahua stood looking out the window, silently thinking, I can't believe this. He will hold a banquet on the day of the appointment, and an unreasonable person has been chosen. Everyone had trouble with the consul before, getting dismissed for accepting bribes, but now they're throwing a party at the trading company. He's furious. How terrible is that guy? Ruin everything. I believe that all of those names will be destroyed before he awakens. Vico suddenly stood behind and asked, Are you the manager? Chihuahua, stunned, the consul, thought to himself. When will he arrive? And calmly introduced himself. I am the vice-consul. Kavir Van Baskerville. The guy also added, I am Chihuahua Baskerville. Vico stared intently, repeating his name, Chihuahua Baskerville. He realized that he didn't have a beautiful name. Again, if someone doesn't have a good name, it means they come from outside the clan. They have no ties to the ruling family and are just staff. Chihuahua couldn't believe that everyone who came here treated him like that just because of that. But Vico suddenly placed his hand on his shoulder and said, I like it, making Chihuahua narrow his eyes and think, Huh? What do you mean? Go on. I checked your information before coming here. You're from this city, right? The man honestly replied, I was born and raised here. Vico said seriously that he knew very well the situation here. I understand the difficulties that you people on the ground are facing, and I have no intention of interfering with your work, so I hope you continue to do a good job. Chihuahua frowned briefly, thinking, what is this? A new way to deceive? Why is he here after the party? Vico closed the book and said, there's no problem with the federal law, but there are some oddities in the judicial system. Chihuahua was surprised. Did you read everything in such a short time? He seriously said that the problem with the week is that many black market businesses are operating and the economy is based on lawlessness. The issue won't be solved just by stopping their activities. We need to eliminate the core leaders of the underground market. The role of vice consulate is to create and enforce laws. I must also respect the laws that have been established, but I will add a new law. He wondered, are you going to enact a new law? You seriously said it would completely wipe out the underground market, but if I want to create a new law, I need a reason. Wawa asked, why do you need a reason when they are doing something illegal? Vico is so cunning. I'm still young and new at this, so I need to put on a show to convince them. That's why I'll create a destiny to attract the crowd and then take off. Wawa was still stunned, thinking, oh my god, is he planning something? At this moment, the crowd was bustling in the main street of Underdog Dasmai Road. Everyone gathered here looks quite proud, with Vico standing confidently in his dazzling outfit in front of everyone. The two janitors are also whispering, what is the vice consul's plan? He's been standing there since early morning. How would he know? But many people have gathered. Raise your head and listen carefully. I am the newly appointed vice consul. After a lot of murmurs, he looked experienced and charming. What can a kid like that really do? She confidently said, I am sure all of you have read the notice here. Although the vice consul has changed, the Baskerville family's autonomous law still remains in effect. The Baskerville Autonomous Law Section 20 will be upheld. Those arrogant fools down there sneer with sarcasm. I suspect they will keep everything intact. The powerful are always like that. I doubt it will take long for him to lobby to maintain the territory. Chihuahua, hearing that, became angry. Fool, have you forgotten who is responsible for your safety? He comes from the main territory. Do I need to put a sword to your neck to make you calm down? The more criticisms there are, the more we should stop if Chihuahua says so. But if Chihuahua is the vice consul, that's better. What kind of law enforcement does a kid like that actually execute? With Vico's hand gripping the nearby wooden staff, his eyes full of determination and resolve, everyone suddenly froze in shock, staring in amazement as he drove the wooden stick deep into the ground with fierce strength, leaving everyone stunned by that act. Even Chihuahua couldn't help but marvel as the stick shattered the earth and stood upright, majestically. Vico calmly announces that, with his authority as vice consul, he will declare a new special exemption law. The Vashir Exemption Law, Section 1, Article 1, anyone who can remove the stake will immediately receive 100 million gold coins. Everyone started to murmur in surprise. What the stake driven straight into the barren soil meant 100 million gold coins. A notice appears stating the Vico House Special Law, Article 1. Whoever pulls out this stake immediately receives 100 million gold as stipulated by Vico van Beskuvel, Vice Consulate. Everyone surrounding and reading it was all confused. 100 million gold is what someone earns after 4 years of work. Who would give it away just for pulling out a few stakes? Hoa Hoa stands there, confused and excited. Vico loudly asks, is no one going to take the money? Is no one interested? You stay silent, observing the crowd, then after a moment you speak again. So I have no choice but to change the announcement from 100 million gold to 1 billion gold. Vico asked again, if no one steps forward to take it, they will get 1 billion, is that right? The crowd remained silent and Vico chuckled softly. At that moment, a white-haired man angrily shouted, this is ridiculous. You're just making us look like fools. The crowd immediately agreed. Yeah, stop the game and go home to sleep. 1 billion isn't food for everyone. Hoa Hoa helplessly lowered her face in thought, wondering why we are the ones feeling embarrassed. Vico spoke up. So you mean no one will step forward then? To everyone's amazement, he spoke up, and immediately after, the prize from 1 billion was raised to 10 billion. Vico clarified again, whoever pulls it out will be rewarded with 10 billion. Everyone below keeps changing in disbelief. What's going on with this situation? Is he really serious? Should I try? He's crazy. Who knows what will happen to him? Look at the sword on his hip. If he punishes you for greed, what then? Maybe that thing is super heavy and it seems to be tilted a bit more than before. I'm sure he's got other plans, so it's best not to go up there. After a moment, Vico, so no one is around, all right? Hoa Hoa whispered into your ear. The vice consul in our city has your money, right? An old man hurriedly advised, hey kid, Judy, the flower girl, right? Do you think this is the place to go up? Honestly, my mother is sick, so I have to do something. Old man, you're so poetic. You'll get cut if you step up at a time like this. Hearing that, Judy smiled innocently and said, "If that happens, please take care of my mother for me." The old man didn't know what else to say. Then Judy approached a tree growing straight from the ground. Right now, Judy's innocent thoughts are filled with questions. Will he really help me, or will I become a joke to everyone, so maybe he'll give me some coins? I hope I can get the most out of this flower, so she speaks up to break her train of thought and tries to pull it up. Then Judy bent down and tried to pull the tree up. The tree shook with her movements, then Judy easily lifted it up with a quick tug. Feeling around happily, many thoughts appeared. The girl did it. She pulled it up. She really did it. She didn't expect it and started to worry and wonder why it was so easy to pull. Impossible. In Judy's eyes, Vico's whole body was filled with a fierce aura, and she was terrified. The girl clenched her teeth in fear, closed her eyes inwardly, thinking she would be executed. Is it because I opposed the nobility and deserve no mercy, or because I was too lazy? If I die, who will take care of my mother? Mom, I'm sorry. Suddenly, a hand holding the bag gently touched Judy's forehead as she was rocking her, and Vico, standing before her, softly said, "Here's 100 million gold first." Hearing that, Judy was stunned while hugging her bag of money, and then Da turned to Chihuahua and signaled, asking where his house was, since 10 billion gold coins would be heavy. "So we will move it to your house, and I will send guards to escort you home with a reward." Then Vico gently turned Judy's head and smiled, saying, "This is the law, and laws must be obeyed." Chihuahua's factory worker opened his mouth wide, eyes bulging, and the crowd around him looked just as surprised. Judy's bag was filled with shining gold coins. For example, this time is an opportunity for Vico's law to become more widely known than the Baskerville family's self-governing rules. If someone breaks the law, they will be punished, but if they obey, they will be rewarded. The simple method has deeply ingrained itself in the hearts of the people. A citizen excitedly asks, "Do you know the vice-consul?" "He really is different." The other replied, "I heard that Vico's vice-consul always carries a sword. That is the social order. Since the Vico family's law was enacted, criminal activities have decreased significantly, and the crime rate has been halved." A sign with elegant lettering hangs on the wall. Chihuahua wipes the sweat from his brow as Vico speaks behind him. "Is that the essence of the East? You really write very well, Manager Chihuahua." He immediately laughed and replied, "I don't think that's a special job, and I look down on the law. I'm thinking about how to attract attention and leave a strong impression." Chihuahua sobbed, "I, Chihuahua, will follow until the end of my days." Then I realized that the difficulties I faced after meeting the vice-consul were not in vain. Vico hesitated, then calmly walked away. He pondered that all of this was something Camille Humeau had done in his previous life. When she became the lady ruler, the crime rate nearly dropped to 0. Of course, since she forced politics through violence, she wasn't very loved. Then Vico took out a map. "This is where illegal organizations hide to evade capture. I will clean up that mess and confiscate their black money." Chihuahua wondered, "How did you know it was there?" Vico pointed to his nose. "I could smell it." Of course, I knew in my heart that area was where I had investigated and fought them like crazy before the regression. Chihuahua was surprised, thinking how thoroughly he had investigated. He always kept track of the situation. Suddenly, a hurried person runs up and says, "Vice-Consul, there is a request from the Autonomous Youth Council of the city." Chihuahua was surprised, and, as expected, Vico chuckled softly and said, "So the nobles only talk big in the council and want to meet me." Chihuahua immediately explained that the self-governing youth council is made up of members from the Mink Blanc, Beer, Lovey, Chenley, Feradamu, Hemet, and Breda families. They are from the second and third generations of local noble families in the Baskerville domain, and although it's called a youth council, it's actually a social organization. It seems the young masters have something to say about the special exemption law. The husband thought silently before exclaiming, "So you guys are really starting to act like a bunch of fools." Vico smiled slightly with satisfaction and said, "Then we will eliminate those pests that threaten the city's dignity." The Sahua Hotel Club in Underdog City is not short of extravagance. There is a room deep within the club, the VIP room costing 10 million gold for 6 hours, where a party is being held with the 7 key members of the town's youth council attending. "Let's build a tower and bring everything you have here, and we will party all night long. They are the heirs of the 7 local clans in Baskerville." Everyone cheers. That pyramid of single-digit Perignon 666 is complete, and each bottle here costs 10 million gold. Han sneers and says, "You can drink this worthless stuff." "Serve it." "Thank you, sir. Thanks to you, we get to taste this valuable drink, and we will serve you wholeheartedly." Han sat down and said, "I will throw a big party as soon as we arrive. He's definitely a complete fool, but we'll join in anyway. Why don't we wait a bit and assert our position? We'll throw a big party with the most loyal and close people." But when it's over, we'll leave the bill for him to pay, Milano says excitedly. Sounds good, Eric. How much money can a 15-year-old civil servant have? I bet it won't even dare to send a report to the family. We'll throw a big party as soon as we arrive. He's definitely a big idiot. We'll team up with him. Why don't we wait a bit to have some fun and assert our position? We will throw a big party with the finest axes and plenty of women. But when it's over, we'll leave the bill for him to pay. Milano's in a good mood. So he whispered to Milano, should we just create a new person right now? Let him pay the bill. Eric will make him sit with us, and when the party ends, we'll tell him to pay the bill. At this moment, Vico slammed his hand on the table and shouted, "Stop this nonsense here." Suddenly, the wine tower collapsed, glasses and wine flying everywhere. Everyone there was stunned with their mouths agape. Eric nervously wondered if it was just by touching the table that he destroyed the champagne tower with Manhwa resonance, which means Vico slammed his hand on the table, his eyes blazing with fierce determination, while Eric secretly thought he was just a big kid. Milano kept shouting a few words. "I thought you were a 15-year-old kid." Eric immediately said, "You're a fellow swordsman of the same level. What are you doing?" Milano shouted at him, "Shut up! If I fight him, I won't last a second." At this moment, Vico approached and patted Richard on the shoulder, causing him to gasp in surprise. He was panicking, so we might end up paying the bill ourselves. Vico stepped forward coldly. "Of course it's the person who should pay for the drinks we had. You think I'll clean up after you enjoy the party?" Richard silently thought that he had accidentally revealed everything. Seeing this, Milano nervously spoke up. Who would do something so petty? Eric continued, "We would never do that to a Baskerville member. We just want to check from your vice-consulate's perspective. As you know, the city of Underdog is a bit far now, and we need to know if you can easily ignore temptation." Milano added, "That's right. You deserve to lead us. We will follow you. A master should be able to check his dog if he likes." And with that, he threw a punch straight into Richard's stomach. His stomach was bleeding profusely. Vico remained calm. But the opposite isn't true. No matter the situation, dogs are not allowed to check their owners. It seems you don't know what fear is because of some money and strength. That's because you've never truly felt real fear. Then he firmly pulled Richard aside, causing him to cry out in pain. He kicked him in the face. Vico calmly asked, "Do you know why he ended up like that? If you still don't understand, then you deserve the same fate." Eric stammered in fear. "I know. I think I understand why now." Richard, terrified and crying, was stripped of his poison. Vico wondered, "Is that so? If you know, then you deserve a good lesson." And with that, he kicked hard, causing blood to spray everywhere. Seeing that, Eric and his guards moved to hold him back. "But he's finished, you bastard," another one. "Do you really think you can escape this?" Suddenly, Vico appeared before him, smiling and saying, "See, even you knew this. Cornering you for illegal slave trading and disrespecting the Baskerville family, you've committed too many filthy acts. I will charge at them and shout you can't tame a beast without giving it a lesson." Blood splattered bright red on Vico's face. Now it's time to punish the filthy animal who doesn't know what fear is. Inside the dark prison, the person behind the cell doesn't know when they can step out. Suddenly, a few people are slowly entering. It's Vico and Chihuahua walking in, looking a bit panicked. A guard holding the cell door says it's no longer clear who is talking. "Hey, dog, do you think you can escape so easily? I will report to my father." Eric shouted loudly, his face bruised. "Wait until I get out of here. I will kill you and never forgive you." "Let me out." Chihuahua was a bit panicked. "Oh my God, what were you thinking? Why did it come to this fighting?" Vico asked. "Do you think I went too far?" He quickly replied. "Of course I did. You should have been gentler. Look at what you turned those guys into. Don't panic yet. I haven't even acted," Chihuahua said, confused. "What do you mean?" Vico approached and said, "Those mayors wanted to fight corruption in some areas and improve the lives there, but now they themselves are so tainted that they are even abusing the Baskerville family's power. Look at how they fight. This shows they still haven't learned their lesson. In a moment of panic, I will personally execute all these monsters. Swiftly, I will also eliminate those involved." Chihuahua, panicked, asked, "You're not joking, right?" He immediately replied, "Of course not." Seeing this, everyone in the prison was noisy. "I'm sorry. Please spare me. I will give you everything I have. Please don't kill me." Chihuahua wondered, will the families behind this just stand by and watch? They are usually cowardly and cautious, but when necessary they can be quite bold. They will no longer support the businesses you control and will seek revenge one way or another, Vico said with a smile. "Don't worry. Their family won't be able to complain because these people are all connected to low-level criminal organizations in the city's underground world." Chihuahua wondered, But do we have any evidence? Vico replied, I have my ways, don't worry, think it over. If we can't find proof, I will create it. After all, I don't care about the consequences. Soon, the chaotic era will arrive, and I will prepare for the battles ahead. Even if that doesn't happen, I will still get into the academy and survive. After thinking for a moment, he spoke up and said, I will tell you about your crimes. Kidnapping and illegal trafficking of women, as well as bribery, intimidation, assault, and even attacking and assassinating officials. Eric repeatedly denied it. I never did those things. If you can provide evidence, I will accept the punishment. Vico replied, You'll accept the punishment if there's proof? You're saying that someone who committed a crime but has no evidence is innocent. Eric clenched his teeth and muttered, That matter. Vico pondered. It seemed he didn't want to stain his family's reputation, even if it meant facing death. Suddenly, Goku dragged a large sack, the deputy consul. Vico turned and said finally, You've arrived. What's going on, huh? Inside the sack is a sword about to breathe out. Goku's body tenses up. I have completed the mission you assigned me. Vico praised. Very punctual. Well done, he said shyly, as he opened the sack to reveal a multitude of weapons, saws, hammers, and many other tools displayed. Goku exclaimed, I have been torturing for 30 years. As I have learned, Vico said, I didn't invent these. They are common where I come from. Goku wondered, Are you in hell, Vico? Well then, do you want me to teach you for fun? Goku, stop. The way you use them makes me feel sick. He looked at the equipment thoughtfully, nostalgic. These torture tools, even political prisoners would have to reveal military secrets and torture techniques developed to fight against demons. Then he took off his coat with a smile. Now Eric is terrified. Oh my God. Then calmly he spoke. What do you think will happen if you don't speak up? Vico grinned mischievously, sounding amused. Please don't say anything. Let me have some time to reminisce about the old days. News spreads quickly, the 7 scumbags are dead, and the crimes have been caught. That's all the organizations in Underdog City can say. In a small tavern, everyone is bustling. Hey, are they just a bunch of people who look down on farmers? Given the current situation with the vice consul, I don't think they'll be released soon. They're the children of noble families. At most, they'll be disgraced and sent away for a while. But according to the law, their sentence is death, and that day won't come for execution. A man spoke. Idiot. You don't know what the new vice consul is like. He already spent $10 billion on each stake removal. The guy next to him, however, said the consequences of killing those guys are unpredictable. I bet he won't be executed. The entire city bowed before him, as expected. The families of Men, Lang, Beer, Louis, Channel, Farragamoo, Hemet, and Prada sent small gifts to apologize to the new vice consul. The local wealthy decided to let those trashy kids go and only face scolding from their fathers, the heads of the families, or at least that's how everyone thought things would unfold. Eric's bloodied head was wrapped in white cloth, then turned to the side until the 7 heads were displayed in the city square. The heads, soaked in salt, showed twisted expressions, revealing how much pain they endured before their deaths. The notices hanging on the heads detailed the charges they faced to receive the death penalty, with the law, crimes, and punishments listed on the flag above the 7 heads. Everyone who saw it was filled with joy. Inside, Vico laughed and said there's no need to argue because these laws are inherent. But in reality, the local aristocratic criminals are well known, so the laws need a slight adjustment. After receiving this declaration of war, they will surely start planning. Once the battle begins, it will end when one side is wiped out, and the city of Underdog will become a sea of blood. You better prepare yourself, Manager Chihuahua. You will be part of the next plan. Chihuahua, confused, put his hand on his face and looked puzzled. What do you mean? Cut to a scene where he is now wearing a mask, dressed elegantly, then Chihuahua turns around and whispers, Me, the deputy consul. Is this really a plan? Vico, dressed with long hair covering his face, smiled and said, You don't trust me, do you? Chihuahua immediately responded softly, No, it's pity. He hesitated and wondered if this was a good idea. He stared intently at the cage behind him, thinking to himself, the charge d'affaires. There are many people wearing masks around, a girl holding a chain dragging a weak man behind her. People are rushing into a large building, many with shackles on their wrists. Both adults and children are present. At this moment, Vico, chained inside a cage, chuckled as Chihuahua's thoughts continued, pretending to be a slave himself. Outside the city of Underdog, luxury carriages began gathering around a large fire. Today is the slave auction day. This is an underground auction that the Baskerville House cannot attend, where captured savages, nobles, and even commoners are traded. The chief officer announced welcoming guests. We are honored to host the distinguished visitors here today. Oh, you are from the Marblanc family, right? This beautiful signature and handwriting only represent the Marblanc house. Your certificate, it seems you have something to sell here, huh? Chihuahua hesitated before replying, "Yes, we came to sell." The chief of the auctioneer started a conversation. "The Marblanc house has always been a valued customer that has brought many slaves. I just asked to avoid disappointment." The man shook his head and denied, "We are always satisfied." They kept talking. "Black hair and red eyes are rare. I guarantee it will sell very well. So I hope you have a wonderful time at this rough place." The night covers the entire city where the tents are set up, with a gloomy atmosphere, and each musical performance is staged with loud, dazzling sounds. The audience is buzzing with chatter. I hear this is the trend of showcasing slaves. I'm interested in beautiful slaves, but the best ones have already been bought by nobles. Everyone hopes to find good items even as the event reaches its peak, starting with a knight from the arena. An A-grade creature with 19,000 hearts called Murcielago, the system quickly updates the necessary information about Murcielago, including its skin, flesh, bones, and internal organs, with a starting price of 100 million. The surrounding hall immediately buzzes with different bids, and the auctioneer announces, "We have 250 million, sold at 250 million," as a faint silhouette with a bare body gradually reveals itself, sparking curiosity. The next slave steps onto the stage, immediately causing everyone to bid higher, the price rising rapidly and making the hall buzz with excitement. Only the auctioneer seems a bit uneasy. "This item is meant for sale. I will try, but don't get your hopes up." The auctioneer quickly introduces a new item, a rare creature from slave traders from a war tribe deep in the jungle, and it's a ballet ghoul. Isn't it fascinating how the training of slaves isn't just about obedience? This is an opportunity for everyone to hone their skills. Even if the crowd is curious about the doll, the auctioneer is sweating profusely, wondering why they would sell this, starting bid at 5 million. Unexpectedly, the hall suddenly falls silent in a strange way, and the auctioneer, feeling the situation is too dire, resorts to a last-ditch plan, lowering the price to 1 million. The participants at today's auction event showed signs of boredom from the dullness. The auctioneer signaled, "It's over. I told you we couldn't sell it, so we'll just use it as bait next time." Suddenly, the crazy ballet monster bit and tore in horror. Before it could scream, it was sewn shut, blood pouring out from its mouth. The auctioneer immediately stepped forward to explain. "It seems there has been a minor clash." Jacqueline quickly changed the subject to show sincerity. "We will start the bidding with a special item." On the dark, cracked tiles, a cold, trembling foot steps forward, and everyone around seems to sense something unusual and is amazed. The man with a distinctive appearance, red face, and long hair makes people feel curious. Jack enthusiastically exclaims, "The quality is excellent. I am really looking forward to it." Before he could finish speaking, the bidding started at 600 million. But then someone bid 800 million, making the woman behind the mask angry. "He's a man, after all." Immediately, the crowd buzzed with their argument until someone called out, 800 million. The bidding war is reaching a climax as the price hits 6 billion, causing the bidders to break out in a cold sweat from fear. The chairman immediately became curious about the person bidding so aggressively. That was Count Gambino from the granary estate, spending 6 billion in one go, such a waste. Everyone around is whispering rumors that he has taken over all the underground forces and expanded his influence. Gambino's servant also wondered if the Count's spending might be a bit excessive. "Who would have thought," the pervert replied, "with such a beautiful slave, he could make a lot of money if he sold him?" The servant slightly objected, saying it felt like too much. Unexpectedly, he got scolded angrily and told to shut up. Gambino shouted down to the village, "I've already accepted the person, so how dare you speak to the boss like that?" Jacker immediately responded, "If there's no better offer, then sell him right now to the customer, 99. He looked at the red-haired, long-haired slave with a truly twisted gaze. Gambino always thought that up close, he looked better than he had imagined. He declared, "Now you belong to me. I'm not a bad person. I've been thinking of many ways to have fun with you. I'm really looking forward to it." He is truly perverted to watch the slave approach, waiting for me to remove the chain. Gambino always boasted, "No, you don't have to do that." Who would have thought he would be shocked to see the slave break the chain in one go? Cindy standing beside him, also gasping in horror. The slave stomps his foot firmly on the ground. It's funny how his whole body suddenly soared into the milk-filled air, and a second later Gambino's head crashed painfully onto the ground. The slave squeezed his huge head and taunted him. "What about this one? The theme is shields and spears. I will be the spear. If the person and the shield can survive, then the person lives." The guy's face twisted with snot running all over it. Cindy calls for a guard. Before she could finish her sentence, a crimson blade suddenly surged up right in front of her. The slave saw the grotesque face bleeding and immediately spoke. "Count Gambino, he's broken, so I win." At this moment, an unexpected event occurs as the slave removes his wig and reveals his hair. Vico introduces himself. Vishir van Baskerveld, wait a minute. Is he dead yet? After witnessing this shocking situation that made the hall lively, Jack couldn't stop worrying. The vice consulate, he's causing a big fuss again. You stand on the stage with a sarcastic tone, mocking her. Truly a fitting name for tonight. Vico's eyes glow red, and his voice is full of insinuation. Everyone here don't think about anything but safety. Vico, with his six-pack abs and fiery presence, turns heads everywhere. Jack, grinding his teeth with his eyes wide open in anger, he shouted out loud. Who cares if he's the vice consul or not? He's unarmed. Kill him. Immediately, a group of people rushed forward to attack him, and now a fierce red energy appeared on Vico's veiny hand. With just one move, he can make them suffer greatly. Jack, witnessing this scene, is immediately terrified. That fierce red aura, no way. Right now, they keep getting beaten by Vico, their skin torn apart in fear. Your red eyes stare directly at them like a warning. The black-masked man with narrowed eyes is watching you closely, so how could he be a grand scholar at this age? A grand master is a symbol of national strength. If things keep going like this, we will lose. Chihuahua spoke, who would have thought that the technique was so formidable. Suddenly, his face broke out in a cold sweat as if he had just witnessed something shocking. Jack shouted loudly, "Look at this, Vice Consul." Right now, Jack is pressing the barrel against Chihuahua's neck and threatening him, telling him to put down his weapon and surrender or his comrades will die, and seeing Vico's indifference makes him worry himself sick. "Hurry up, if you're not quick enough, I'll say so," Chihuahua with wide frightened eyes as he sees himself on the brink of life and death. Chihuahua speaks, "Deputy Consul, I'm fine, please don't worry about me." Jack shouted in anger, "You old dog, what did you just do?" And the man replied, "Concepts like injustice and compromise are not in my dictionary. I'd rather release than harm my master." Vico opened the door. "I appreciate your loyalty, Chihuahua. Don't worry, when I left Baskerville territory, I received a gift from the ritual of pregnancy. He was panicked, a spear, trying to do something." Vico gently put the horn to his mouth and blew, immediately filling the surroundings with his powerful sound. Hearing that sound made Jack and Chihuahua break out in a cold sweat with indescribable worry. The go-eye gradually being released also made the surroundings quieter. You, with your sturdy body, charged straight at them and stared intently. Jack looked a bit confused, but there was nothing. He suddenly opened his mouth and said, "What is that? Is that just a sound for the dark?" Jack shouted proudly, "Just as I thought. Even the great Dankoa is helpless here." Who would have guessed that the deadly blade shot straight into his throat, causing blood to spray everywhere? This bloody result was caused by the mysterious man in the dark costume behind him. The dark-clad figures look truly mysterious as they launch a sudden attack that is immediately shocking. Chihuahua witnesses the scene before her with eyes full of fear. Suddenly, someone with a sharp dagger stepped forward. But who is this person? Life rarely has moments of pink, and as he spoke, he was immediately controlled by a red aura energy. All around is covered in a blood-red hue, witnessing the scene that makes Vico smile with satisfaction. At this moment, he strides forward steadily, surrounded by rows of dark-clad soldiers, 10 people like sharp eyes entering the auction. The surrounding atmosphere is now filled with tense silence, and the crimson eyes standing beneath the red space around them seem to emit a chilling aura. Everyone around with narrowed, frightened eyes as if they can't believe what they're seeing. Please don't say it's them. Please say it's not. Cindy, with a hollow face and a grim symbol on her face, I've heard about this. She remembers that the most brutal army of the Empire, known as the Destruction Machine, is all about destruction. That is the Baskerville Pack's dog army. Cindy's eyes widened in horror as sweat beads streamed down her cheeks. "No, I can't die here." Vico stepped right in front of her and resolutely spoke, saving her life. Immediately after, he stomped hard on the ground, and the army bowed and knelt respectfully. He spoke, telling them to deal with the remaining enemies, not to kill those who surrendered, but to be ruthless if they resist. After receiving the mission, the army respectfully responded in unison, "Yes, sir." Vico continued to ponder deeply, while Hugo was very perceptive about military matters. "Luckily, I can get the dog without any problems. Everyone around is immersed in the bloody, crazy battle, so I bow my head and plan my next move. Just stay here for now and run when I get the chance." But as he raised his head, he immediately met the piercing gaze of the pack of dogs, and all words faltered in fear of slipping up. "Hey, I will put handcuffs on you." One of the dogs spoke up. "We don't carry those." Before he could finish speaking, a sharp turn cut across his massive body. The dog barked defiantly. "Those executed, don't need legs to do anything. Rio asked, "Nephew, how do you feel about using the dog squad?" And you replied, "I like it a lot." He took off his glasses and winked. He's much more mature than a 15-year-old. Later, come join the dog team. I will definitely guide you sincerely. Vico coldly replied, "I will consider it. I have urgent matters to attend to, so I'll be leaving first." That made Rio more interested, but Vico just looked at me. He's so annoying. The hard floor and the sound of footsteps create a creepy atmosphere. You carefully observe around the prison and think it must be somewhere nearby. This is how they pay for the iron bars, everything will be taken to the city hall, and this year's taxes are settled. Thinking about the Baskerville family funding this school makes me feel terrible, but that's not what's important right now. I quickly pull down that curtain. I'm here for a different reason. Everyone around Vico's wide eyes was filled with shock as if witnessing something devastating, while faint sounds of helplessness echoed from nowhere. The battered figure lying on the cold tiled floor with torn clothes, a distressed face, and tears streaming from his eyes looked truly tragic. Vico, wearing a white shirt and apron, was thinking about how to rescue the trembling woman inside the cage. After observing for a while, he also realized the problem. It seems she was punished for escaping. I don't know what Vico discovered, but he frowned in annoyance. He quickly pulled out a small bottle of red medicine from behind him. "You're lucky. I only give you this because I received it from the Knights Guild." After speaking, Vico poured the medicine into the girl's mouth, her body covered in wounds and her torn dress looking even more pitiful. Suddenly, the aura source began to glow, activating its power, and her eyes suddenly opened with a frantic fear that kept stirring inside her. IEN saw Vico retreat into the wall and paused. Why so surprised? IEN, with humans, widened his eyes and clenched his fists as if ready to fight everything, even Vico. He confidently stood up and spoke in their special language. Go on. I don't know if she understood, but his expression seemed to have many things to say. He thought that having fought many demons before, he might be able to say a few words in their language. But at this moment, she stopped screaming and began to respect the beast language, confusing Vico. Although not fluent yet, IEN quickly turned and walked toward the alley. Before leaving, IEN left a final word in the beast language. Vico turned back with a cheerful smile on his face. I guess that was his way of saying, thank you. All right, let's get back to work. After a while observing around, Vico also flipped over 10 curtains hiding objects and found it. Its large body was lying on the table. Murcielago's figure. Luckily, they hadn't distinguished it clearly yet. Vico's rough hands gently placed on its body, releasing a powerful aura. He smiled slightly, knowing this was the first level A monster called Bilgebob, and it would be eaten. Vico gently advised, the dog team will arrive soon, so eat quickly. The next day, news quickly spread about the incident, and the new deputy consul swiftly dealt with the criminal organization. As the day ended, illegal auctioneers were sent to prison with their henchmen, and the half-bird creatures created an oppressive atmosphere for everyone in the city that day. The largest demon fortress in Underdog City, Yahello, has been burned down along with the Kukung Society and the disappearances, and the heads of VIP guests were displayed as a warning to deter any future crimes. While the 7 noble families whose children did not return home wrote many petitions to the consulate, but the answer was already clear. Those involved in illegal activities have been banned and face the death penalty as the only outcome. The confessions of the 7 criminals have been recorded and will soon be investigated and reported to the command. Shortly after, the protests from the 7 clans ceased, and the dog-raising masters went to the consulate to bow and beg for the lives of their children. However, Beechier's response was very simple. He announced that he had investigated the black mark in hell. You have violated Baskerville's self-chosen law, so your assets will be confiscated. And to pay for this act of betrayal, you will be exiled from the 3 clans. The new law of the vice-consul kept the blood flowing on the floor for days, as the blood of the vermin was washed away from the city. Then, the workload was always understaffed, reducing the success rate, restoring welfare, and increasing public support. Wawa was just pouring coffee when the vice-consul, I brought coffee for you. You reply, focus on managing affairs, there's no need to bring me coffee. The man hesitates. This is my way of saying thank you for saving me. Vico chuckles softly. A cup of coffee for your life seems a bit too little. Wawa modestly responds, not enough. 2 sugars, 2 spoons of ice cream, and a super water. Is your handwriting practice okay? I brought the paper soup in front of him and asked, can you check it for me? He opened his mouth. You've only been practicing magic for a few days, but you've already reached this level, Vico said. I still have a long way to go to reach your level. Wawa pondered. Does he really make others feel awe? If Deputy Consul continues to act like this, the city of Underdog might develop even further, as the night covers the entire city with shining stars. A beam of light shines through the prison gate, looking cold and bleak, with iron bars surrounding the wrists. Vaikau spoke up, apologizing for not meeting her sooner, saying he has been very busy lately. She introduced herself as Cindy Wendy Santosa, and she asked, "Why did you let me live?" "Be straightforward and simple. I have a few questions for you." Cindy with sharp eyes, "Are these questions to save your life?" Vaikau explains that Namtu Gambino's rise from an unknown to such a powerful figure is due to her excellent earning ability based on investigation results. "If you play your cards right, you'll become a wealthy businesswoman. I promise you, if you answer, I will let you go. But if she doesn't answer, she'll regret it later." Today, she bit her lips silently without replying, but her heart was trembling with fear. She thought for a moment and then answered, "I will reply to you." Vaikau coldly asked, "Do you think I am doing well?" Cindy gritted her teeth and said, "I think you are currently doing very well. I didn't expect you to be so straightforward. I won't keep my promise if you're not honest." She replied, "I think you're heading in the wrong direction." Vaikau's angry smile rose high as he stepped closer to her pitiful figure, his rough hands revealing blue veins as he lifted her chin and asked coldly, "What is the reason?" His bloodshot red eyes opened wide as Vaikau looked at her with a fierce gaze. Cindy was terrified by his imposing presence, her face turning pale. Vaikau's arm falls away from Cindy's chin as she slowly moves her pupils in the direction of his hand. He turns and walks away, saying, "Tell me where I went wrong." Cindy clenched her teeth, but her true strength lies in her sense of justice. She continued, "When you create laws to judge criminals and boost your reputation, many will die and get hurt, and in the long run you'll reap hatred and resentment. Furthermore, you won't be welcomed home at Baskervilles and won't be favored if you have more power than the clan leader, making you an underdog. In the end, you'll be hated, resented, and become a dangerous target for the Baskervilles." Vaikau asks what she thinks he should do. Cindy replies to give back all the privileges he has from Baskervilles, including the one he gained after this event, to the clan leader. The main attention should go to LaRue Mountain, in Illinois, or the Imperial Central Academy, where people of your age and background are common, hiding your strength and identity. When the time comes, the Baskerville clan leader will take responsibility for you and Cindy will feel an overwhelming source of power. Vaikau speaks, meaning he's threatening, wanting the hunting dog to bite its master again. As time goes on, Vaikau's dominance grows stronger, and the room's atmosphere becomes tense. But despite your fearsome presence, Cindy refuses to back down, maintaining a resolute expression. She insists she's a hunting dog, which is the only way to avoid hostility from the clan leader. Hearing her words, Vaikau grimaced. Suddenly, he lowered his voice and said, "I will remember this." Vaikau took out the lock and said, "That's good advice. You think like me." He unlocked it, and as promised, "You're free." Cindy looked at Vaikau with suspicion and asked if he really let me go. He replied, "I am a person who always keeps my word." He quickly left, and I hope you won't regret this. Suddenly Vaikau spoke up. "Do you know the Messimadanaro family?" He replied that there were many noble families, not just the 8 great clans in Underdog, including her merchant family, and the youngest one performed a new sword technique on his birthday. The show began, and the Baskerville family members couldn't believe what they saw. The swordsmanship that the child performed is the secret technique of the Baskerville family, known only to its members. The news reached the clan leader, who determined that military secrets had been leaked, leading them to release the Sanda dogs, resulting in the destruction of Messimadanaro. However, the truth is that someone was behind everything. The demons of the 8th family stole the Baskerville swordsmanship and let the youngest learn it. Cindy hesitated. What does the story of the 8th family have to do with me? Vico still told the story, revealing that some members of the Messimadanaro family were still alive, and the 8th family had tried to smuggle out a 1-year-old girl. And because of the child's beauty, she endured terrible suffering, beyond words. Cindy grew angrier and angrier. "I don't want to hear anymore." But Vico kept talking. "The story isn't over. You said that when a new vice consul arrived in the city, he uncovered the issues here and punished those responsible, the 7 bastards. The new vice consul tortured them, making them face the consequences until they died, and that was when they started to deny everything." Cindy cried as she listened to Vico recount, apologizing for the terrible crimes committed. Something like that. Cindy shouted, "Who are they apologizing to?" Vico laughed and replied, "Who else? The girl who used the fake name Cindy Wendy Street. Rose is the only survivor of the Messimadanaro family." She shouted, "How can I trust you? You captured and tortured them. How can I believe their apologies?" Vico raised the torch high. "So what if you believe me?" "Doubt my words. I guess it's easier when you see it with your own eyes." Vico looked into the bloodstained cell. Look inside. Cindy also turned her eyes to follow him. Suddenly her eyes widened in shock. Inside is a bloodstained cell, a terrifying scene. On the ground are words written in blood. We are the ones who caused the death of the Manhwa family to avenge ourselves. I am so scared I don't want to die. Witnessing such a scene, she couldn't help but cover her mouth. Cindy was horrified, trembling as she knelt on the floor. Vico remains calm. Even if they die, the Manhwa family's revenge is not over. There's still another family, the Baskervilles. Cindy, who often visits Manhwa, still has much to do. Cindy looked up. You're a member of the Baskervilles, why are you helping me? Vico sneered and dismissively replied, You've got it wrong. Cindy slowly stands up. I understand what you're about to say. She turns away. Vico of the Baskervilles, I will settle this debt. From now on, no matter what you do, you won't have to worry about money. Achieving what you want, Vico smiles with satisfaction. And I will remember this promise clearly. Cut to the building where Vico is still working. A loud noise echoes from outside the office door. Wawa rushes in happily, the vice consulate. The sun is rising. The man was stunned by the blood-stained room. It's time to get to work. Vico calmly woke up, rubbed his eyes, and said good morning. Wawa was shocked and asked, What's going on with these bodies? Vico replied, I guess I killed them when I just woke up. The more surprised he was, really, Vico hasn't provoked him, no, just enough. Wawa follows behind Vico. Was your childhood really that intense? He asks. Why? Not happy. The guy hesitated. That's not the issue. Vico pressed on. There are too many things blocking my way. I remember the 2 poisoned arrows, 4 doses of poison, acid, a small dagger, a fire, a car crash, and many other things that happened. I wonder if I've already attracted attention. Wawa replied, I think I'm really going crazy. Vico silently thought that the skills from the illegal auction house and the resilience of the hellish continent were better than he expected. Thanks to the twin sticks and his enhanced body, even a top assassin like Donkoa couldn't stab him. You speak up. They're starting to cause trouble. I need to handle it. Wawa agrees that's sensible. Suddenly both of them freeze as a carriage approaches with a red card on it. Are the Baskervilles here? Vico realized that they seemed to come from the main family. The carriage stopped and the door gradually opened. A pair of shoes appeared along with a stylish suit, and this person's presence made Wawa stare in surprise, his sweat pouring down, and Wawa immediately stood upright in front of the man's appearance. While Wawa stood at attention, Vico remained calmly watching. A person stepped out of the carriage dressed in a sharp suit. John bowed his head. Long time no see, young master. Vico replied. The butler in the locked room. He stepped forward. Really? John praised. I believe you will do well once you leave the estate. Vico replied. Just tomorrow. Wawa, standing behind, looked curious. Who is he? The most outstanding butler of the Barrymore family. In a place like Baskerville's, even a small shot can be deadly. The chief butler, John Barrymore. Wawa's eyes lit up, surprised she might meet him. Vico, curious, asked, Does his visit mean... John answered, Yes, that's right. The head of the family appreciates your work and has ordered you to return. He seems pleased. Vico doubted, happy and proud. Meanwhile, Hugo was lost in thought, staring intently at the front and walking forward. It was a newspaper featuring the most revered underdog figure, Vico, who also held numerous titles, including vice consul. Hugo smiled happily. The Baskervilles are just muscle brains. Now we can erase that image. Hugo praised without hesitation. Well done, son, Vico replied. I was just doing my duty, he wondered. Is that a happy face? Hugo smiled and said, Yes, rewards and punishments must be appropriate. He announced that you will attend the academy this year. Vico guessed they were right, as expected. The top academy Colosio is where the empire's upper class used to gather, where noble and royal children studied to ensure security, and students had to stay in dormitories. This is an opportunity for me to get stronger without Hugo noticing. Hugo asked, I plan to send some people with you but haven't finalized yet. Do you want to bring anyone? Vico remembered he's close with highbrow, middlebrow, and lowbrow and thought, I'll use them as decoys. Hugo agrees. We will send them with you. Do you remember the plan when you turn 80? Vico asks again. During the training with the MORG family, the plan was for the MORG family to borrow the ruby mine and use it to confront the Manzi army. Hugo revealed a sinister smile. The plan had succeeded. Vico was curious, meaning he responded that the Mo family had proposed the raid, and they were very eager for it. So why didn't you go to survey the territory before enrolling? You should check how your revised laws have turned out. Vico obeyed. That is good experience for you. Yes, sir. The scene shifts to the day Vico leaves, with Chihuahua following to say farewell as Vico's figure gradually disappears into the distance. Take care, I will do my best at work. Vico turns back, knowing he will part ways with manager Chihuahua soon, as your carriage continues along countless roads. Suddenly Vico stopped. You can come out now. As he finished speaking, countless mysterious people in black appeared from nowhere, and Vico apologized for making everyone wait, saying he didn't want the farewell to be chaotic. Starforce removes his hood. It's okay. We will ensure everyone's safety throughout. Starforce asks, Are you okay, Boston Terrier? Vico replied, Still fine. Starforce recounted that after the slave auction event, he really wanted to get the young master into the guild for him, recalling that foolish old man. Vico stammered, He's too cunning. The scene shifts. The sun has set, and Vico has arrived at a remote, desolate mountain area. Looking at the giant rocks in front of him, Vico wondered, is this where we lent the Mo family the place? He walked around, and it seemed no one was breaking the rules. Starforce said the reconnaissance team had already gone to investigate, but Vico replied, I know there's an issue with the Manzi army. Starforce recounted, I learned that the Mo family had assembled an army from the 3 largest clans. The 30 city halls of the smaller family and countless anonymous mages, Vico marveled. It seems they are very serious. In other words, the Baskerville family only sent a group of knights and myself, a member of a smaller family, among the elites on the other side of the mountain. Vico pondered silently, like Hugo said, considering that Manzi's life wasn't too bad. The Vico team continued to push deeper into the city gates. The atmosphere here was extremely bleak, with dry skeletons hanging from the trees. Starforce looked up at the tree. The wizard had done this. Vico followed the gaze. Maybe it was a message from Manzi to Mo. Starforce marveled. That was a serious warning. Vico remembered the familiar figure. It made me think of her. She must be strong now. While the two were talking, the shadowy figures of 3 mysterious people watching from above, a voice from above challenged, No one passes here. Middleses and Luzes also echoed, No one. Vico looked up, recognizing them. The 3 flowers of the Mo family, Heises, Middleses, and Luzes. He assessed that one of them was quite crazy, and together they were even more insane. Vico spoke up. We are a team dispatched from the Baskerville family. I explained, we came to survey the territory and maintain the relationship. Open the gate, one of the 3 sisters said. Not now. I will report back, so wait. The answer will come tomorrow. Vico asked again. Are you trying to barge into my land? Heises sneered, looking down on us for borrowing this place. She caught the boat and asked if anyone knew about the tenant protection law, which belongs to the noble family. Vico tightened the reins and said, Now I will change the law, so I can dismiss tenants I don't like. Vico's gaze changed, emanating a dangerous energy. Open the door. All 3 sisters turned pale at Vico's intimidating presence. Vico nodded. Loxus clenched her teeth and said she didn't care about being oppressed. Loxus attacked first. I hear there's a crazy kid running underdose. She unleashes magic, but we've faced many like him before. Vico gently rides her horse to dodge Lucis's attack. She screams, If I say wait, then wait. A fool like you can't enter the MORG family land without permission, or show us the rising talent of the Baskerville family. Starforcer reminded me that I don't think we can solve this with words. Suddenly, a few people shouted and turned back, and the 3 sisters exploded. You are just subordinates. Do you think you have higher status, ungrateful fools? The 3 of them stepped forward, not us, quickly removing their masks, revealing familiar faces. Highbrow, midbrow, and lowbrow. He is the symbol of Baskerville. All 3 turned back with very smug expressions, leaving everything to us. Seeing the 3 brothers appear, Vico's face darkened, and his annoyance grew. Vico behind wondered, why are these guys doing this? Highbrow turned back. We are waiting for the reward for recommending us to the academy. Leave it to us. Vico suspected that this was after the academy. I was planning to use you as pawns. You know, in the future this trio will become assassin soldiers. They are not smart enough to decide for themselves, but can still follow orders. Vico silently thought that if he trained them, they would become useful. He smiled, trusting the 3 of you. The 3 sisters spoke up. The fools only know how to stick together. We're the fools. We're the fools. The 3 sisters went mad, you bastards. We'll teach you a lesson. Vico observed that before returning, the 3 Mo family mages, masters of water, earth, and nature magic, each performed their elemental spells in turn, and the combination of the 3 attributes increased their magic power tenfold. After the 3 cast their spells, a giant sprout rose from the ground, so they were called the 3 flowers of the MORG family. The 3 of them were proud, wondering if the Baskerville family members could surpass it. Highbrow charges forward with his sword. It's just a stick, what can you do? He swings his sword. Baskerville's swordsmanship is not the best. Starforger marvels. The first move is perfect. Suddenly, Hybro's movements froze for a moment. He quickly swung his sword to block an attack from the three sisters. Hybro was knocked back, stumbling backwards. Hyberos, Lozis sneered. That turtle-like sword could even reach us? Seeing himself insulted, the three brothers erupted in anger. Starforger and Vico stepped in to block the fight, and Starforger asked, "Isn't that interesting?" Vico wondered what was interesting about that. Starforger replied that the debate over which magic or sword technique was stronger had lasted for a long time. Magic uses surrounding mana to simulate elemental power and amplify it, while swordsmanship uses internal mana as energy to create explosive strength. The mage and swordsman families will be at the top in the future, but witnessing their talent and potential is not interesting. Vico replied, "I am one of them too." Starforger protests, "The young master has already surpassed them." Vico thought to himself, "Why aren't they all dead yet?" "You speak wasting time. I need to get through quickly. I still have a mountain of work to do." Suddenly, a shadow of a foot steps down from the tall tower. What is that? A powerful fire-type mana source is unleashed. What are you doing in front of my territory? As soon as the two towers rush in, they've caught the person. He had to kneel back when he felt a colossal power. A huge flame was rushing toward him, as if wanting to swallow him whole. A terrible explosion occurs, with thick smoke billowing everywhere. Vico, excited, wonders to himself, are they all dead yet? The three brothers managed to retreat in time. What? Fire magic, that's unexpected. One of the three brothers shouted, "What are you doing, trying to kill someone?" But the three sisters are no better. They are crying, and I almost died. "Sister, I'm so scared. If you hadn't dodged in time, I would have been killed." A girl with red hair appears. What are these things? Vico immediately recognizes the voice and the familiar face of her. The slender girl standing proudly on the tall tower is none other than Camus, who just performed fire magic. "She speaks to warn your friends in the territory I oversee." She said, then jumped down below, the three sisters explained. "Camus and I just wanted to block the intruders, but they were already ahead." She glanced at Hysis. "Are you all talking back to me, big sister?" Hysis panicked. "Of course not." She ordered to retreat. Camus pointed carefully, warning not to become like that. The three sisters were terrified. "I apologize." Camus remained silent, gazing at the man on the horse. Suddenly her eyes widened as if she just remembered something. Camus slowly approached Vico, who had remained silent all along. She gently tucks her hair back. "It's been a long time since we met. Vico Van Baskerville, 7 years, right?" Vico smiles. "It's been a while too, Camus Moss," she silently thinks. "She's even more charming than before." Is this the beauty of Camus Mère Auriger, the one who holds the hearts of countless men hiding among the upper class? So many married men are ultimately seduced by her, talked about everywhere, but why is nothing happening in this life? Vico ignored it. "Just let it go," he said as he opened the door and walked away. "Because this trio didn't listen to me." Camus was angry. "It's been a long time since we met again. And you," Camus was furious. "What's going on?" Starfusil silently thought that after the trio's battle, the next fight would be between the two star leaders of families A and B. Camus pointed at Vico, then paused, showing no approval. She frowned. "What kind of attitude is that towards your future wife?" "Always negative." Her words making not only the three sisters but also the three brothers stare in surprise. Vico also froze, not having caught up with the situation, as Camus' face flushed red, while Vico was still wondering. Wife. Everyone was working hard on farming, Camus riding on horseback. It seemed the Baskerville family didn't know much about Manzi. Vico was surprised. "You've been right all along. We know more than she does," she wondered. "So why did you bring these fools along? Aren't they all too young and stupid? You said we've discussed with the MORG family that the main force will be on the other side of the mountain, so why ask about it now that you know this?" Camus smiled brightly, thinking I didn't know. Vico was confused, but as the representative I was sure I knew everything. She thought he was like someone abandoned by his clan. Yet somehow, he still gained their trust. "So what is the most troublesome thing about the Manzi tribe?" He silently felt helpless. She wondered. "And the Rococo witch tribe, with their power and archers 3,000 times more advanced than the Empire, the origin of which remains unclear." "Camus, you rebel. Because of your knowledge, I give you 8.8 out of 100. You wonder why the score is so low despite my good answers. And I reply that it's because you answered very well. What should I do with you? I like all smart men. Foolish men are more interesting. Riding a horse, 6 points. You're shorter than me, and you're riding a horse that's too big for you. Fashion, 4 points. Your clothes look like a mess. Your arrogance, 1 point. Your face is 99 points. You're handsome, but your expressions are not good, 1 point. Because you're dissatisfied, stop this pointless gesture, she argues back. How is it pointless? I'm just scoring my future husband. You're surprised. How could I be her future husband? Camus looks serious. Everything is settled. I will fight you if I can make a drop of water fall, and immediately water pours down. She erupts in fury. How dare she decide who her husband is just through a game? I have no choice but to accept it. You watch this scene indifferently. She truly is a fiery old soul. I forgot about that day. I promise it won't happen again. After hearing those words, Camus' face involuntarily turned red. How can you change what has already happened? You fool, I am a genius, and once I promise something I won't forget it, because he went somewhere else. It's nothing. Since you're lost in thought, she returned it without even washing it. This is a fortress built by mages in 1 month. In that time, they can do what hundreds of ordinary people would take a year to accomplish, so she should praise them. He pointed to the marks on the wall, which were the traces of arrows shot by the Balak tribe. Camus nodded. Yes, the arrows carry a very strong aura, especially at night, capable of breaking through a 3-meter thick wall. The arrow wounded my son. Though he survived, his pride was hurt, and he replied, "Our clan leader is the same. I heard his bow was broken." Are you sure the outstanding ones on the Manji side are women? Camus pondered. I think they are women because they blacken their faces, making it hard to tell their gender. A person from the forge camp, suspiciously, inside the makeshift tents set up for the camp. In front of him is a man from the Manji tribe with a body covered in strange markings. You realize he's from the witch tribe. She asks, "Did you get any information?" Erlin broke out in a sweat. Their powers are strong witches and they can't read minds. She pressed him. How many people were taken from the M. Oregon family a few days ago? Among them is the daughter of the M. Oregon family named Rose, who did something, and Loka sensed a strange woman. Camus ordered, "Translate it." She's embarrassed. I only understand a little. Everyone is dead and taken away. She was feverish, so no one could translate it. Erlin stammered. That's right. He patted his chest. I can translate it. She was surprised, you know. Vico stepped forward. I only know the basics. Camus describes, so ask where my cousin is. She's 12 years old, with red eyes, red hair, and white skin, and you start switching to a different language. Loka understood and smiled broadly. His eyes full of crazed satisfaction, Vico said, She is dead, which is truly devastating news for Camus. Since the head of the court and the temple are not here, all decisions will be made by me. A golden light appeared where he knelt. I pronounced the sentence, and immediately Loka was pierced through and executed. A sharp stone surrounded by golden light, he collapsed, and she stood above, looking down. Just keep talking. After the battle ends, your language will only be used in hell. Rococo's people looked terrified at the scene, while Camus had completely lost his mind. Let's go. Vico saw that and could only remain silent, saying nothing. He gently pulled back the curtain and stepped outside, then found her there, tearful and distressed. Vico was heartbroken. Despite her tough actions, she was only 15 and seemed very close to her. Camus remembered, yes, she was a naive child, not suited for this cold-blooded family. You comfort him. Don't be sad. She will probably pass peacefully. She retorted, Do you think I'm stupid? I don't understand the language, but I can understand a little. Tell me that what I heard is correct. Vico was stunned. She paid close attention. Loka's furious expression at that moment, Kaihan said, We already ate it. Tears kept streaming uncontrollably, no matter how hard we tried to hold them back. Her lips pressed tightly as if she didn't want to cry out, but she couldn't hold back and tears poured down. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for not being able to protect you. Your hand reaching out to comfort the wounded girl suddenly stops in the middle for no reason. So one is crying and the other doesn't know what to do. The two of them just stood there for a long time, crying until they were exhausted. She wiped away the last tears with her hand. It's not that big of a deal. If there's a beast in human form, I'll just end his life. It's not the time to mourn. I need to quickly regain my spirit to continue my revenge. You reached out your hand, truly worthy of being called a heroine, right? Camus hesitated a bit, but still reached out his hand. Slowly, he grasped the other's hand, when suddenly a ringing sound caught Vico's attention. What was that noise? She explained that it was a signal indicating the Manzi tribe was attacking. You sneered. Her revenge was coming quickly. The scene in front of the city wall was eerily quiet. Wildflowers blooming all over the ground, when suddenly a foot not belonging to a human appeared. A member of the Manzi tribe, holding a bow, approached on a white wolf with I-E-N leading, drawing the bow straight at the city wall, the arrow carrying immense power soaring into the wind chariot. By the time everyone realized it was near, it was too late to react, and the destructive force of the arrow shattered the city wall. She observed everything, her body exuding a commanding aura, and she ordered the others to attack. They fought and killed with extreme brutality. Everyone was caught off guard and unable to resist, and in the blink of an eye, corpses were scattered everywhere. I just arrived. Am I a bit too early? Suddenly, from not far away, a rope was thrown and immediately tightened around Vaiko's neck, and he still hadn't understood what was happening. Lai La and Musaha had caught the target perfectly, and the hunting trip for husbands was proceeding smoothly. Vico realizes the problem. Hunting husbands? To develop a superior new race beyond the native people, so they go hunting humans to make them their husbands? Musa has already kissed her, so do the two Manzi men suspect him of being an enemy? Vico hesitated. Hugo had asked him not to act hastily before the main force regrouped, so he couldn't start a fight now. Should I send the main force to attack, or will your arrows easily cut them down? Seeing this, those guys are stunned in disbelief. Impossible. She now also arrived, her palm gathering a fiery aura, fiercely demanding what he was doing and why he wasn't killing them. The group burned and screamed in despair, and Camus seemed to have lost control, turning the entire place into a sea of flames. She turned to him. Did you just use a righteous aura? So you are a great mage? I know you're the only man who can make me admit it. Vico replied. I have received the order from the head of the family to avoid starting a fight until I regroup with the main force. Camus is declaring war with magic? Is that the order from the head of the Baskerville family? Then a Baskerville member shouldn't get involved in this. Because I will eliminate all of them myself. A powerful firestorm sweeps everything around. You are stunned. That fire is the four impressions. She has enhanced her destructive power. Camus fights more fiercely. I will avenge my sister. A distant enemy shoots a needle that hits her neck. This is a fatal wound. The fog clears, and a barbarian riding a lizard appears. It's Starfall. It seems I've been poisoned and paralyzed, my body no longer able to move, and feeling helpless, I let go of her hand. That guy took the opportunity to swing his sword, but was caught by your hand. Camus praised, well done, because she suggested it. I think it's better to retreat. You disagree. But what about the farm and the captured people? He replied, it's better not to get involved in any battles until the main forces arrive. Camus strongly opposes it. I need to avenge my sister. You're losing patience. Make a reasonable decision. Suddenly, an arrow was shot to attack unexpectedly, but thanks to her sharp senses, she dodged it. Standing opposite her, the one who struck was Ain. You also have to be resilient. That destructive power. Could it be the one Camus mentioned? At the same time, she was suddenly taken away. He couldn't do anything but stand and watch. Is everything really turning for the worse? Camus, when she was still a young girl, was once captured by her. Then she single-handedly destroyed the demon tribe and returned, earning the nickname Queen of Leroy Number. Still, I have to do something. While Vico isn't paying attention, she attacks and I dodge. Her attack is fine too, and delivers powerful straight kicks, pushing me back behind. Her movement pattern is different from others. Do I need to use all my strength now? Suddenly, something makes Vico's eyes widen in surprise. She points her finger and says to you, we have met again. Ian's face is full of challenge and a combative smile. Anne calmly said each word, you will meet again. She smiled provocatively. Vaco looked at the woman in front of him, feeling an overwhelming sense of familiarity, and quietly thought to himself, is she the one he met at the slave auction? He spoke up, Leroy's gratitude, right? Ian, with a proud and defiant expression, replied, I am a slave who was captured by the enemy. It is the Moreau tribe, not you. Then I take the reins and ride my beloved pet. Vico speaks out, seeking revenge as I was once betrayed, and if you want, follow me to capture the woman leading us. After hearing that, he felt a bit stirred inside and wondered if he should show his strength. Adop saw En leave, his whole body tense with determination, and ran up shouting, Camus! Vico looked at Idop thoughtfully, Idop of the Orog, who immediately after hearing about the attack, without hesitation, quickly cast a wide spell full of anger, the Guardian. Return my grandson here, Idop said as he swung his staff to the ground, causing the surrounding earth and rocks to shatter and fly everywhere. Despite this powerful attack, she remained confident and, together with her beast, moved straight ahead. The entire tribe easily slipped through the cracks. Ian's pet lightly jumps over a large sinkhole as if nothing happened, leaving Adop in shock and feeling helpless. Vico worries silently, thinking Black didn't expect the attack to end just 3 minutes after the alarm sounded. Everything became more complicated due to Camus' recklessness and inexperience. Halen, looking panicked, ran over to report that I think they have headed to the forbidden area of Mount LaRue, Eleanor. After hearing this, he looked shocked and loudly said the forbidden zone on LaRue Mountain, Eleanor, revealing Adop's inner unease and contemplation. The forbidden area remains unexplored and full of danger. Advancing there at night is nothing short of suicide. Hey girl, she's been captured, but there's nothing I can do now. At this moment, Vico's voice rang out. We can chase after them. This statement immediately made Adop suspicious and hesitant. You, Vico, replied calmly. I have been in the forest before, but that was a lie before I returned and you went through the exploration. He stepped closer, grabbing your shoulder and urgently said loudly, Are you serious? Halen, standing behind, anxiously advises, Sir, heading to Mount Leroux, Eleanor is now risking her life. Since these words can no longer stop Aedop's determination, he firmly replied, I won't punish anyone who doesn't want to go stay at home. I know this child is extraordinary. I have no choice but to trust him. Under the cold, gloomy night sky, Aedop pleads for help, asking him to please save my granddaughter. Leroux Mountain Forest, Eleanor in the Baskerville domain, is home to the bloodsuckers, poison ivy, deadly spiders, and many other dangers. Ordinary people cannot survive here, which is why it is called the living meat-eating forest. However, Aedop's group gradually moved deeper into the forest, with Vico leading the way. Watching his rapid pace, he couldn't help but wonder if all the children of the Baskerville family could do the same. Hayden replied, Of course not. Standing before him was a fiercely aggressive marrow-eater man. Hayden proudly speaks for his master. Only the young lord is an exceptional case. Vico pulls out his weapon, and with a few basic strikes, he has taken down several of the resurrected. Seeing Vico's swift sword movements, his subordinates couldn't help but admire him. Cool. Seeming to sense something dangerous, he became alert and warned the group behind him. Vico looked ahead where the orange-yellow light was shining and said, See, they haven't run too far. I heard that the black hunters scatter dry leaves around to hear the footsteps of those following them. As soon as he finished speaking, Aedop immediately cast a silence spell on Vico. He explained that this spell helps you move silently. From now on, I'll rely on him so he won't forget that I'm his son-in-law. Hearing those two words, you start to doubt and think, son-in-law. The flickering flames illuminate a large area of the forest. The group that cornered Camus has chosen this place as their resting spot for the night. She was tightly bound to the tree, furious. Once I get out of here, I will come back and kill you all. I will show you my magic. Get ready. The girl in the group, seemingly young, listens to Camus' words while they are talking about handsome guys. I like the guy from earlier. I think the hunting trip failed. Seeing the people in front of her not caring about her, she gasped for breath. They didn't hear me and thought they were talking about hunting and chasing women earlier. That's why they launched the attack. Just then, a tall, muscular man notices Camus. Ahun looks at her with a lecherous gaze and speaks. Because we have taken this woman, every honest man would want her. Hearing this, she became furious. If you have the mental capacity, do what you want, just kill me. He looks indifferent aside from his hand. I don't understand what she's saying at all, but just by looking into her eyes, I could tell she was a traitor. He clenched Camus's face. Ahun drew his arrow threateningly. I think this arrogant servant needs to be put in her place. At this moment, Ien appears, voice threatening. Ahun, stay away from my slave. He couldn't accept defeat. Why, leader Ien, I already captured her. Ien's voice is unhappy. You, idiot, lower your voice, he whispered softly. So what do you mean I was the one who shot the arrow and set the trap? Ien calmly said, so who is responsible for the outcome if I didn't stop the kid with the sword from killing the already dead person? Ahun is not willing to accept this. So you mean this woman is involved in the conspiracy? So you're having internal conflicts. I believe she's the leader of them. Her name is Ien. Ahun still arguing. Those women are the leaders. Ien asks, so what if I delete it? Camus felt a bit worried inside. She was evenly matched with Vico, a top expert. If I want to escape, I need to get past her. Ahun could no longer hold back and pointed at Ien, shouting, I won't let you do whatever you want just because you are the commander. She could no longer hold back and clenched her fists in anger, her eyes filled with warning intent. If you oppose, come and see me whenever you want, Ahun. Tai will show you what he's capable of. He saw that her expression now seemed to have learned what the word fear looks like. Oh dear. I do not oppose it, Ien said. It's okay, Ahun replied in fear. Yes, I give up. Do whatever you want, Commander, Camus thought to himself. It seems she has won. Ahun's plan failed, and he has left. Ien speaks. Her eyes are just as good as hers, meaning she is the next clan leader of the noble Orge tribe. As she was speaking, she kicked Camus directly in the shoulder. I was captured and taken to the Orge tribe and sold as a slave. However, I was lucky to have someone help me, so I was able to escape the life of slavery. But you won't be as lucky as I am. I will teach you a lesson that will be etched into your bones. Your daily task will be to kneel and lick my feet. At that moment, a loud explosion occurred, causing her to stumble back. According to the alert, there is an ambush. A calm step amidst the explosion site. A powerful voice echoes, You savage monsters, I am here to return what you have done. Camus, hearing this familiar voice, joyfully exclaimed, That voice! You, Adolphe, full of rage, return my granddaughter immediately. The space is filled with a blazing red color, and everyone's faces clearly show confusion, as chaos erupts around them with fierce battles. Vaiko hid on a tree branch, glancing down to observe. A strange, unfamiliar feeling suddenly welled up inside him. How come the Balak hunters ambushed so professionally, yet everything's so chaotic? Someone's furious, damn it. How dare they cause chaos in the forest in the middle of the night? Adolf orders his subordinates. None of them are to escape alive. Camus, despite being bound, is extremely excited. Do you know fear, you ghosts? Suddenly a noise behind her made her startle. Camus carefully glanced back to check. She saw Vaiko behind her and screamed. Vico signaled her to stay silent. With a single slash, Camus, who was afraid of the bright light, was cut in half. Camus, glad you're here to save me. Vaiko helps her up, you little brat. Didn't you know that symbol means stay silent? Someone else approaches, and the skilled swordsman knows you'll come. A woman's voice echoes, her good physique helping her find her way quickly. Your clever mind sees clearly in the dark, and your passionate love makes you risk everything for her. IEN stands in front of both of you. I won't ask about your past. You've already made your choice. Vico with a passionate look, he wondered to himself if it was love, obsession, or impossible. Why can't I remember anyone like her from my past life? Don't tell me she's someone who can evade Hugo's scrutiny, the assassin Balak, or the Night Fox. She is too young and lacks the skills to be that person, or maybe she is related to the Night Fox. As he was pondering, an arrow shot straight at Camus, but Vaiko quickly blocked it. The shooter steps out from behind the bushes. What? How does he know? Vaiko quickly reminds Camus, but things are becoming more complicated. You speak up, your words a bit hesitant, I will take her to your place. Camus shyly agrees. Yes, he's talking normally, probably worried about the poison. Saying that, Vico quickly disappeared right in front of Ain. She sighed. Oh my, I just want you to obediently come back with me. Vico wiped her sweat and asked, Am I heavily poisoned? Camus replied softly, Probably yes. Two more archers appeared and shot directly at Vico. He quickly swung his sword to block all the incoming arrows. At this moment, Ain steps in, grabbing her bow and preparing to act. Her arrow is incredibly powerful, and even just drawing the bow reveals a difference in strength. Her eyes flickered. Should I deal with that little Origer girl? Forget it. Her arrow streaked like a giant blade, and Vico also felt the power of the arrow rushing toward him from behind. Just as En's arrow was about to hit Camus, he turned around. In front of Camus, En's arrow was only a few centimeters away. Suddenly, a giant wall of ice rose up. Just before the arrow reached Camus, it was blocked by the ice wall. The one who just saved her life is none other than Adopt. He anxiously shouted, Are you okay, my girl? Camus was happy for you. Immediately, Adopt caught Camus and detoxified him. He was worried. Those poisons are heavy, I can't remove them all, so when we return, we should stop by the Holy Goddess. She gently removes Adopt's hand and says, Excuse me, sir. Then she rushes to hug Vico tightly. You saved me again. Vico, Adopt was stunned, Camus. He was heartbroken. Your nephew tried so hard. Camus is blaming. Why are you only arriving now? I will tell Mom. Suddenly, a rope from nowhere loops around Vico's neck, and the one pulling it toward himself is Ain. You should delay being taken. There's no time left. Camus is angry. It's a person again. Vico will tear the rope apart. There's no time. There's a reason why the father had to rush. Suddenly, a strange creature is about to appear in the sky. The sky turns a furious purple as the forest is shrouded in an ominous atmosphere. Aen was worried and distressed, so it noticed. Vico's hand also emitted strange signals, like a warning. You wonder, Bill's blood vessel shoes are warning you something is coming. Aen's panic is growing, she stammers. She's coming, she's... Aen's face pales, her pupils dilate as she looks up at the sky, spotting the woman. From within the forest, a tall, pointed pillar pierces through the trees, and everyone else is panicking. It's the woman here. Camus wondered, a single pillar, while Vico was also stunned, unable to believe it. The pillar was where the strange creatures began to sprout countless twisting legs. Sharp legs suddenly pierced into the ground. Adolf also sensed the danger, standing in front of Camus. It's unreasonable for such a monster to be hiding in the forest. Vico also happily touched it, not expecting to encounter this monster here. Memories from a past life began to resurface. If he remembered correctly, this monster was a terrifying image that appeared in his mind. A level S disaster, targeting women. The giant monster lifts its leg and roars, shaking everything around.